It's time for TWiT This Week in Tech. Kevin Rose is here. Kara Swisher, Mike Elgan, Rafe Needleman. It's a cast of thousands, well, 5. But it's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about the fire. Kevin hates it. I love it. Kara thinks, meh. We'll talk about Google Plus, of course, because Mike's here. We've got to humor him. And we'll learn about goats and donkeys and why they get along. It's all coming up next on TWiT.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by the new Winamp for Android, featuring wireless sync and one-click iTunes import. Now with free daily music downloads and full-length CD listening parties. Download it for free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 328, recorded November 20th, 2011. Donkeys get lonely. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToMeeting with high-definition group video conferencing. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com and use the promo code TWiT. And by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to audible.com/TWiT2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter. User ID Audible_com. And by Ford, featuring available sync with My Ford Touch. Sync with My Ford Touch gets you to your destination with integrated turn-by-turn directions and directional arrows displayed on screen. Check it out in the new 2012 Ford Focus and at Ford.com/technology. It's time for TWiT This Week in Tech, the show that covers your weekly tech Jones, really. I mean, this is the idea is you watch this show and you will no longer have any interest in tech news for 6 days. And then you'll come back here on another Sunday. Starting from my left, Rafe Needleman. Where are you CNET still?
I'm still at CNET.
Okay,
yes.
just checking.
Yes. As far as I know.
What is your title at CNET?
Editor at large.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know what that means.
Which one? I have
Jim,
5.
Jim Lansell.
Oh, okay.
It goes all the way
great.
up, though, right?
Yeah.
To Les
He
Moonves at the tippity top.
Indeed it does.
Very, very
She could have meant Les Moonves
I do
All right, I have
speak
6
to him
bosses.
every now and again.
I forgot him.
all the way down. Many
He's a smart
bosses.
dude.
Anybody who works at CNET. Well, it's good to have you, Rafe. Good to see you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
My friend Kevin Rose is also here, the founder of Milk.
Milk.
MI.LK.
Yes.
What is LK?
There's Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Wow.
It was short and
No, it's good.
Thank you.
MI.LK. And Oink is out. Your first product.
Launched that here a couple weeks ago, 15 days ago.
I like
that.
Oink a lot.
Thank
We
you.
played with it quite a bit. And is it really David Prager going?
Yes.
Okay, just
The noise
checking.
It's
Most annoying.
the best we could do. We didn't have a big budget for
No, it sounded just like a pig.
big sound.
David does an excellent pig,
He
and I was
does.
very impressed. Yeah. So it's going well?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of shocked at how many downloads we've had so far, and it's been
I
pretty
love
awesome.
it. I really actually enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's a you rate play. It's kind of like like Foursquare. You would check into a place. Oink, you say this place has great muffins.
Right.
And you'd rate the muffins.
And then you can compare that muffin to all the muffins in that city.
Oh, really? There's a cross muffin
Right,
comparator.
Exactly. So it takes one object and compares it against another.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
neat.
it's pretty cool.
I haven't seen that part yet. I have to
I'll
play
show you.
with it some more. Yeah. We'll do a little demo. Also here, Mike Elgan, Mr. Google Plus. You don't work for Google Plus, but you should.
I don't get paid by Google Plus. I certainly help them a little bit.
You certainly spend a lot of time there. It's
I
where
love it.
your newsletter originates. Of course, Computer World is the place where. Do they still do a paper edition?
I think so. I don't get involved in the paper edition.
So you're
Everything
just
I
the
do is
online only.
electronic. I'm also on Cult of Mac, Datamation, bunch of
Yeah,
other
I've been reading your Cult of Mac column. Is that something new, or you've been doing a
maybe
lot of stuff
a year
there?
or so.
Yeah,
But I really enjoy
I've been
that.
quoting that a lot.
Yeah.
You probably. Your ears are burning because I'm always saying, Mike Elgan told me.
My eyes are burning too because I watch it. I watch your shows.
If your eyes are burning, consult a doctor.
Right.
Speaking of consulting a doctor, Kara Swisher is here and in good health, and we're so
Excellent
happy to hear that.
Thank you.
We were a little worried. Kara from All Things D. She was at All Things D Asia.
Asia D.
Asia D. And had a little temporal ischemic attack.
No, it was a stroke.
Okay.
I had a stroke. Don't be scared of the word.
Not a TIA.
It was technically, but
Scary.
most TIAs are strokes. They just don't have an MRI people don't do MRIs when they have these TIAs
Right.
because they're so small.
But it's good you got an MRI. You
Yes.
got great care. You
Great care.
felt better quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
You were blogging within minutes, I think.
Yes, indeed I was.
I couldn't
Yes.
believe how fast you were
Yes.
writing
During
again.
it, actually.
But you did
Yes.
miss, unfortunately, you missed the
Yes, I
stage
did, but my
stuff.
fantastic staff, Ina Fried and Peter Kafka, filled in for me.
They're
and
great.
Walt, of course, was
Yeah.
on stage,
Yeah.
and they did a great job. It shows that I'm not completely dispensable, which is great.
That's bad.
No, it's good to know.
I don't want to
You know,
know
my
that.
grandmother used to say that the graveyards are full of indispensable people.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Well, it's so good to
thank
see you and
I'm very
have you
well.
back. And
it was the shortest stroke in history.
glad you're you know, short stroke's probably better than a long stroke.
That's
but,
true.
But no stroke is a good
You can
thing.
make a joke. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No-
There's
no
plenty of
stroke jokes,
I
on
can
this
do to
one.
my kids now. Don't give me another stroke and really mean it.
Oh, that's mother material.
I
That's
know.
power.
I do not do that to my poor children.
That is
but-
power. I love
know.
that.
Yeah.
So it was Internet Censorship Day on Thursday. I hope you all called your Congress critters to complain about. In the House, it was SOPA, and in the Senate, it was IP Protect. IP Protect.
IP Protect.
IP Protect.
Protect IP Act.
Protect IP.
Yes.
I'm hoping that one person on this panel will argue in favor of these measures.
You know, I had this guy.
There are some people who
On
say,
my show.
well, the guy in charge of the RIAA said it's not as bad as you think.
Well, I had Mitch Glazier on my show.
Oh, Mitch.
On the roundtable.
Okay.
And he made a compelling case. Of course, that's his job. It's his only job, as far as I can tell, is to have the lines to make the case.
Stop Internet Piracy Act and IP Protect, both Protect IP, both do essentially the same thing, which gives the government the right to break DNS if a site is a pirate site.
What they do is they give the DNS companies have to subscribe to this list of bans.
A black hole.
Yeah, and then if a site comes up on that, they have to make the DNS not refer to it. That becomes illegal to
Right.
refer to a site that is on the blacklist.
It's a federal offense
Yes.
to resolve that IP
It is a
address.
federal offense to give anybody a direct link to one of these sites. And that just happens to wrap up DNS. It also means you can't publish a list of physical IP addresses, a printed list, and hand it out. That would also be illegal.
It would be also, in some versions, illegal to circumvent using proxy. They want the ISPs to assist, and they're looking to web hosting companies to be a little bit more assiduous in preventing copyrighted materials from being on those sites. They're really putting the responsibility in their hands.
Well, there are two businesses that get wrapped up as the enforcement arm of this, and one is the web hosts, like you
Right.
said. I mean, anybody, Twitter, anybody who has links.
That's what's scary.
Could get wrapped into it, and then the backbone of the internet, the DNS, which would make the United States internet different. It'd be like China or Iran, where the internet that we see is different from the internet
Right.
that everybody else sees, because the DNS is under the control of some government arm.
Is that the chief complaint against this? Is that it changes how the internet works? Is it the fear that content companies will be overly aggressive in pursuing companies? What is the...
Well, like the DMCA, and I'm going to start throwing these letters around and start getting them wrong probably. Like the DMCA, some of this isn't necessarily legal, requires a warrant. So companies
That's
make
an issue. There's no due process. That becomes a big issue.
The issue of due process is the main one,
Right.
because so commercial interests can basically, the argument goes, end up taking a site down by poisoning the DNS, by having it poisoned out of the DNS system. The guys at the RIAA will say, no, that's not the case, but that is the main complaint, I think.
Microsoft's position on SOPA, no comment. They did support the Protect IP Act. Apple and the Business Software Alliance and others support it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
are they tying this to domains, or are they tying this to IPs? Like, how are they actually going to stop this?
Well, I think what
What's
they
to
do
prevent
is they
somebody-
say if you search for a domain and it has offending IP address as the result, you will get either nothing, or in some cases you will get a site that says, you know, piracy is very bad.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, but can't they just? I mean, pirates are going to swap their IPs out in 30 seconds and have a new IP, and then all of a sudden another one gets added to the list, and does the old one come off, and it's just a nightmare.
Exactly, and the poor hosting company,
Right.
the innocent hosting company who
Has
put
the
up
burden.
this site gets taken down completely. Although again, the guy from the RIAA says actually it's the page that becomes illegal. That page has to be taken online, but that's not going to That's
Yeah.
you know that's you run sites. You know that's how impossible that's going to be to manage.
So a number of sites, including my sites, personal sites, not TWiT, but my personal sites, had popped up on Thursday. Internet censorship day. This site would be could be blocked. This is what you could see. Call your member of Congress. Tumblr did an amazing thing. They got 87,000 calls to Congress. The average call length 53 seconds. The longest call 31 minutes. I wouldn't want to be on the other end of that one. 1,293 hours. Talking to representatives. That is amazing. That's
great.
Good for Tumblr. And there, I understand why Tumblr would be worried, because there's a ton of infringing content on Tumblr, right?
And a ton of great content on Tumblr.
Should we defend Tumblr? This is the thing. I'm trying to find somebody who's going to say, well, wait a minute. Maybe I'll say it. Wait a minute. Piracy's bad. It costs everybody. Shouldn't we do something to protect intellectual property? Is there something so wrong with this?
But this particular method is wrong.
Okay.
But no, of course you should protect, go after all kinds of things, but this way is kind of ridiculous.
The thing that I don't like about it is that
typical.
essentially the fear is that offshore companies that are outside the sort of the jurisdiction of the U.S. government will be doing all these things, and they are unreachable, essentially. And so let's strangle the throats that are available.
Right.
The companies that are in the use, put the burden on them, create potential security problems for them, create all these, workload problems, and essentially change the way the internet has functioned before, which is that people who are just conduits for content are not liable for that content. Now there's switching it around and saying, okay, well, you have to do something about content that somebody said is pirated content. That's a shift in the traditional approach that the U.S. government, not the Chinese or the Iranian governments, the U.S. government has taken toward the internet. And it's a bad trend. And for the most part, most of the defenders are saying, well, probably nothing's going to happen in real life. And that may or may not be true, but that's not how laws are supposed to work. It's not supposed to be a
Don't
situation
worry,
where,
trust us.
Exactly.
No, someone just on the thing very smartly said it's like burning down a building to get rid of termites. And it's,
Mel Watt, Democrat, North Carolina, Judiciary Committee hearing early this week. They had the hearing on Thursday. Says it's beyond troubling to hear hyperbolic charges that this bill will open the floodgates to government censorship. It's a long way of saying.
Yeah, I love trusting those politicians to internet stuff. They've always been, it goes back, and when I used to be at the Washington Post, it's the same business they like to make noise about, and then they settle down and make noise.
The bigger picture is that every new technological change, there's a power grab by officials and governments. Let me give you one example that sounds completely unrelated. Used to be 100 years ago, when the police would interrogate someone, there were no cameras, no microphones running. It was
We know there are cameras now, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
only for the other side. See, now that there's cameras, the law enforcement agencies have reserved for themselves the right to record interrogations, but they don't let you do it.
No.
So they've seized on the development of this new technology to change the balance of power between suspects and the police. And this happens every time there's new technology, and this is another example of that, where there's a new technology, there's the internet, people can pirate content now and distribute it globally. And so this provision in this House bill is a grab at
A grab from the big media companies,
Exactly.
U.S.-based big
That's right.
media companies.
Exactly.
Yeah. Using their paid henchmen and women, the Congress.
One of the
Congress
great
the
things
United
about
States.
SOPA, according to Larry Downs, is that part of the bill is a study to figure out how much piracy is actually costing us. It's funding, the bill funds that. So we don't actually, the answer, they asked that
We don't
question.
know.
We don't know
Well, we're gonna find
how
out
much piracy actually
after we pass a bill
damages
against
the
it.
economy.
I already doubt the results, because what they're going to say
course,
is
they have to
the
prove-
value of what was
Right.
taken is equivalent to what would have been
They
sold,
could have
which is never
They
the
can't-
dealt with
and
this
that-
so
that-
much.
they always
They could have
answer
dealt with
that
this many
question.
years ago if they hadn't been so onerous in releasing stuff digitally. I mean, they taught
that's
a
the-
generation of people to steal,
Right.
really. And I know it's unfortunate for them, but I used to cover them all the time, and they had they just wanted the internet to stop. I remember after the Web 1.0 thing sort of collapsed, I had a pretty prominent media executive said to me, "Oh, thank goodness that's over." And they meant the internet. You know what I mean? I was like, it's not. It's about to get started. It was just
Well, remember when, we're coming up on Black Friday. Remember when the Black Friday ad sites popped up and retailers sued them, saying, you're publishing our coupon information prior to Black Friday. This is going to kill us because people will know where the best deal is, and that's going to put us out of business. Fortunately, they've kind of wised up, but this happens every time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That the rights holders, the people in power, the people who say, God, the internet's going to kill us.
We see our stuff getting stolen on lots of sites. There's
All Things D.
All Things all the time. We see, oh, look, here's the entire All Things D site.
I'm sure, Mike, you have the same experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not something we like, but it's also not something we're going to attack.
It's not the end of the
We're not
world.
going to shoot everyone for the problems of.
In fact, you can make a case that giving stuff away is a good way to promote the stuff that's paid.
Some of it. It's just you have to have this idea. The idea is, I always say when I'm in a lot of these meetings, is the kids seem to love this internet thing, so you might want to get on board.
Right.
And they're like, ha, I go, no, really,
it's
the kids
happening.
love it. It's done. And so I think it's just a question of how. They certainly come a long way. I mean, the things you could get now are available on streaming. I now use Roku. I've got Apple TV.
Well, that's another problem. Cord cutters are going to kill Comcast.
Well, I haven't used cable.
Yeah, the cable town is not happy.
Well, I still use cable. Law and Order is still not on the internet.
Well, and you need the internet. The problem is you're buying the bits wholesale, not retail.
Yeah, absolutely. And I spend a lot of money, actually.
So maybe we can declare a minor victory. Ron Wyden in the Senate he's a Democrat from Oregon, has placed a hold on the Senate version of the bill. And in
it's not going through.
It's not going to happen.
No.
It's in
Pelosi's on it. The other
it's in committee. Even Darrell Issa, who's a Republican from California, says the bill is extreme and will die on the House floor. He told Don Reisinger on CNET, "I don't believe this bill has any chance on the House floor. It's way too extreme. It infringes on too many areas that our leadership will know. Thank God we have leadership. That our leadership will know is simply too dangerous." In its current form. So was this a tempest in a teapot, or is there really a threat? This is not the first time IP Protect. There was Kawaika.
This is like whack-a-mole.
This keeps happening again and again.
It will keep happening, and you have to remain vigilant.
They won't pass it. The tech companies now have two good lobbyists themselves. They're starting to really.
The House does this at all. The House does this a lot more than the Senate. They throw stuff in there. Hey, what if it passes? Wow, wouldn't that be great? These are the same guys who declared pizza and French fries as vegetables this week.
Because pizza has tomato sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's an argument out of the 80s.
I know. Reagan saying the school lunches had ketchup.
So
it's back, baby. Well, good. I'm glad. I think we can declare victory on this. I think one other thing, it's not just the internet companies. I think that voters are a little more aware, and I think that campaign, that internet-wide campaign to stop censorship, is probably pretty effective.
Well, back to your point about tempest in a teapot, I think it was the tempest that shuts this down. We really need to have the kind of a response that the public had over this in order to shut these down, because without it, it would have just possibly sailed through and become the law of the land. So.
But people have woken up. Thank goodness.
Indeed.
That's a good thing.
The kids love it.
And the kids. Well, you were talking about cameras. We're going to take a break, but I want to talk a little bit about the UC Davis thing, because that's interesting. There are cameras everywhere now, and they're not just in the hands of law enforcement.
Why do the police keep doing these things? Do they not see the 50 cameras that are pointing?
Well, that scares me a little bit. Maybe they're going to wise up and do it in the dark from now on.
It's almost like they have to be on the side of the protesters, because nothing helps the movement more than spray painting some sophomore in the face with
pepper spray. Talk about that in just a bit. You know what I didn't bring with me? My clipboard. So you're going to have to tell me, Eileen, what fine sponsor we're talking about today.
Well, first up is our fabulous sponsor, GoToMeeting.
How did I know? GoToMeeting from Citrix. Of course it is. If you have tried to have a meeting with your far-flung colleagues and clients, you know that nowadays we live in a global world, and it's so hard. Global world, that's kind of redundant, isn't it? We live in a global business environment, and it's so hard to gather people together, especially for an impromptu meeting, but even just for that weekly staff report. This is GoToMeeting. For years I've used it as a really effective way to get these meetings done. First of all, easy to start a meeting. You click a button on your Mac or your PC, the email goes out, they get a link. Very easy, even if it's a client that you're pitching and they don't know what you're talking about. They click the link, the Java thing pops up and says allow this, and they say yes, and they've got it and it's running. Now they're seeing your desktop, but it's more than just your desktop now. GoToMeeting has just added HD video conferencing, and this is we've been doing these. The quality, everybody now has such great cameras in their laptops. They've got internet. The quality is so good on these. It is actually rivals the $100,000 telepresence systems the corporate boardrooms installed a couple of years ago. And you can use it right from your desktop. It's so fantastic. I want you to try it for free. I'm going to give you an offer code in a second for 30 days free. Go to meeting.com, and the offer code is TWiT. And you know what else is really cool? Go to Meeting. Now you can attend meetings not just from your desktop, your computer, but from your iPad, your iPhone, your Android phone, too. It means more and more of these meetings will be held in unusual locations, shall we say. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. Go to meeting.com. Yeah, I know it's a little echoey, but I'm here. I'm watching the meet. It's amazing. Go to meeting.com, try it free, click the try it free button, and use the offer code TWiT. You'll be amazed. Don't turn on the camera, though. Actually, I don't think can you use. I don't think you can use the camera if you're on an iPhone or an Android phone. Just the desktop. That's probably a good thing. Go to meeting.com. We thank them so much for their support. The great folks at Citrix. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. This is a big meme going around now. Of course, it was Google Plus, Mike, that I first learned about it. The UC Davis protesters. Now, first of all, I don't want to weigh in on the politics of this or the law enforcement of it, because we don't. You know, all we see is a camera phone video. But it sure looks like they were sitting there quietly, and one of the police officers came up and just kind of sprayed him a little bit with pepper spray. And whether there was rationale for it, we don't know. Maybe one of the kids was about to, I don't know what was going to happen. But it just shows you there's cameras everywhere, there's camera phones everywhere, and this stuff goes straight to the internet. And to watch those pictures on Google Plus kind of side by side with Tahrir Square pictures of protesters throwing back tear gas and things like that, pretty dramatic. I thought it was very interesting.
What's interesting about all that is that all of these confrontations between protesters and police are about the protesters saying we can be in some location, and the police saying we don't want you to be in that location because they've been given orders by somebody else that they don't want them in the park, they don't want them in the sidewalk, they don't want them in the street, they don't want them blocking businesses, whatever it is. And so there's this the argument over where you're allowed to stand as a mob is fueling this entire movement, because it's those images that's drawing people to it, to feeling outraged and stuff. It's completely unrelated to the issue of you know, so many rich people, so many poor people, and all that stuff, which is really what it's all about.
These were originally Occupy Wall Street protests.
But it's the cameras taking pictures of police and protesters disagreeing over where protesters can be. That's driving the whole thing. It's crazy.
That's interesting. I didn't even realize that's what it was all about.
There's a wonderful video from, I don't know, a month ago in New York City, or 3 weeks ago, something like that. It's not wonderful, it's horrible. But some protester said something to one of the white-shirted New York police officers, who's, you know, one of the senior guys, and he just hauled off and clocked this guy. And the cameras that came out of the woodwork, and everything pointed to this point where this was happening. It was just amazing. I mean, literally like 500 cameras came out of nowhere and just were filming the whole thing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So what is the upshot of this? Is this, how does this change our world if everything we do, and by the way, it's not always good. I mean, teenagers nowadays, I mean, you can't, there's no innocent act anymore, right? Everything is recorded and it's on Facebook whether you want it or not. There's no privacy, right? How does this change our world? What is
It's changed. I mean, has it changed it? It's changed. It's
done. Changed. Everything's in public.
It's done.
Is it for the good?
It's what it is.
It's what it is. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Do we like cars? Are we agreed on cars?
We don't agree. Yeah. No,
I guess you could grump about them. It's
That's
just
what technology in general happens.
And it's going to just become more ubiquitous. I mean, these screens everywhere is what I think is going to happen next. Is there'll be screens everywhere, and everything will be a screen. Your table will be a screen. The wall will be a screen, and I think then you'll have a sort of, you can move.
It's like
these
1984. There'll be screens that are watching
you. Well, that's past
Minority
1984.
Report.
I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Or were you just
It went by. 20 years ago, actually. But
well, it didn't happen in 1984, but I think it's
it's just very much like, it's just sort of, I think, the ubiquitous technology everywhere.
Does government run scared and start becoming more repressive, or does it become more transparent? What is what happens?
The initial instinct, I think, is the repressive shut down, and then there's always that opening up that happens afterwards. You know, after that doesn't work.
Well, Egypt's a good example. You know, there was the initial revolt, but then didn't really create a democracy in Egypt, and now it's. But it strikes me that they're not going to rest, and they're going to continue to use internet and social media.
It's not what it was, though. Gaddafi's gone. All these people are gone.
Right.
And it's not just about Egypt. It's about the entire region and even beyond the Middle East. You know, in Syria, look what's happening in Syria. It's happening everywhere.
Right.
And you know, I think that in a lot of countries where you have, you know, conspicuously undemocratic regimes like in Egypt, you're going to have regime change. And I think ultimately in places like the United States and Europe, Japan, places like that, you're going to have a more subtle shift.
There's a lot of bugs under those rocks, so we're going to have to keep turning over the rocks and keep turning over the rocks, keep shedding the light. But I think in the long run, light breeds health.
Yeah.
Yes?
Maybe.
You're so cynical.
I'm not cynical. It's just you don't know. I don't know how you know. Is the car a better thing? I suppose it is. Although we have a polluted planet, are planes a better things? Yes, but
but isn't transparency and exposure and it doesn't more information? Doesn't that move you in that direction?
And manipulation.
If you assume that people can use that information well and intelligently and thoughtfully, then yeah, sure, everything's going to be great.
I think they can, but I just think you don't know what people can do.
Well,
that's right, and you don't know what forces are aligned against, and as you turn over rocks, you know, sometimes there's a little bug that you have to smash, and sometimes this is a big scorpion that stings your hand and kills you.
The big difference between 1984 and what we have now is we have cameras in every home pointed at everyone. The difference is that the government didn't put them in there to watch you in one direction. We went out and bought them. We sought them out, and we opened the doors to our private lives because we love it.
Right.
And it's, you know, and so it's a democratically sort of a grassroots incentive rather than the 1984 thing where, you know, and in North Korea, of course, it's 1984 where they actually have radio broadcasts that, you know, you can't change the channel and stuff like that. You can't turn it off.
But it feels like for the first time we're flipping that back now and we're starting to watch the government, right?
Exactly.
Like that's really
what I don't hope, though, is that we get the equivalent of Britney Spears in protests. You know, the people who suddenly become celebrities as protesters, and I mean, this actually has happened in the past, where these people actually become very scary, and the Trotskys of the world become, you know, go from the overthrowers to the repressors pretty quick.
It didn't end well for Trotsky, so.
Well, that's true. He got the hammer and the thing, but you know, the noggin. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. This is maybe too abstruse and esoteric a conversation for a simple little show like this. But I think it's kind of interesting, and I noticed that it's happening right in front of our eyes.
Well, it's the instant information society. I mean, think about the Penn State thing. How much stuff you knew immediately. And how quickly. Although it's incredible how much people kept hidden. Yeah. And it was out in the open. And it was out in the open. People knew about it, but nobody knew about it. So it's just.
So do you think that could have happened? That would happen now?
It was happening now. I don't believe nobody dropped a dime on these people. A secretary that heard about it, nobody. It was actually being discussed. The way that the government found out about it, the prosecutors it was in a discussion group online, and then they started investigating that. And so it was in plain sight what was occurring there. Like a lot of people knew, and just nobody dropped a dime. And that's, you know,
credit
as
probably,
a mother of small
probably
boys,
goes to that investigator who said, "Wait a minute, and
exactly.
I'm going to pursue
but I'm
this."
saying that a lot of people knew, and nobody did anything.
Right.
Yeah. We have all these two cameras pointing in both directions. We have instant news, Twitter, all this, but most of the world is still unknown. Right. Most of the things that are happening, most big events are not covered. Nobody says anything. Nobody does anything. The reporting is non-existent.
That's the big threat: is public apathy. We have all the information
know
in the
so
world.
much that you're just overwhelmed.
I mean, right now everybody's excited about the protests and stuff, but how's it going to be in 3 years? Everybody will get tired of it, and there'll be protests everywhere, and nobody will pay attention. You know, so that's the big threat: is just people being so enervated by entertainment and fun stuff that they don't care.
Or you get media savvy revolutionaries who become very good at manipulating all this stuff. And then I don't trust them because God knows they might have all sorts of agendas that we don't know about. But they're so good we don't know. All right, enough. I don't want to talk about it. I'm getting depressed. I'm depressed. Carrie, you've depressed me.
It's going to be either Planet of the Apes or Terminator, one of them.
You did it, you damn dirty apes. Well, you know what Google did? What? They did it this week.
Skynet. You mean Skynet? Go ahead.
Skynet, a.k.a. Google. They launched Google Music. A little late. Welcome.
With not much music.
I'm surprised Apple didn't buy a big full-page ad in the New York Times. Welcome, Google. Seriously.
They don't have to.
That's understood.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like,
and yet, I think there's some important things. Yes, they are missing a big label, Warner Music. But they've got the rest. They will. They have 8 million songs, but they say, you know, we gotta upload them or whatever it is they do. What do they do? When Apple started iTunes, they actually were digitizing CDs. They were putting CDs in Macs.
Does anyone care though?
Yeah.
That Google launched Google Music.
There's
It's
so
I'll
much
tell you why
music
I
available.
care.
Spotify is
Android
fantastic.
people.
I love
exactly.
Spotify. And then you're
Spotify's
right.
fantastic.
Spotify
Yeah.
changed the game because you don't have to own the music. You got
moved
13
on.
million or whatever it is,
Exactly.
22 million songs. And on the other hand, here's where I like it, and I wish maybe Spotify could take a page from this. If you're an independent artist, you don't have to go through CD Baby. You put your song up there, you create a page, you get 70 cents on the dollar for the sales. It's very good for independents.
That's the new publishing model for music, apps, books, the 70% model. It is so great for content creators as long as they can get the marketing and rise above the noise, because, you know, you publish anything right now, whether it's a music or, you know, a game in retail or a book, and the distribution channel takes, I don't know what, 90% of the value out of that.
There's another thing, which is that you can have more control over sharing. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of musical things that I don't want anybody to know about. You know what I mean?
What
It's
the
like
hell could you be
secret,
listening to?
embarrassing things.
Barry Manilow.
Right.
Barry Manilow,
Right.
that's it.
I'm a huge fan of him.
Exactly. I don't want
You're
that.
safe. You're on the right side of the table.
Yes.
If I listen to the Carpenters, I don't want that
What?
broadcast.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody-
fantastic.
Oh, I turned off my Spotify sharing
Yes, I love what
2
it
minutes
is.
after I turned it on. It was like, I don't listen to Spotify so other people can judge my music.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Don't judge
Keep it
me.
all on.
But here's-
share.
Well, you're
Here's
just
Okay,
so
wait a
cool.
minute. Okay, what
I
are
mean,
you
guys,
embarrassed
come
that you're
on,
listening
who
to?
cares? Is anyone really looking at your Spotify and be like, oh my God, look what he's listening to?
No, that's not the point that the people are
cares?
judging me. It's just like I don't.
How do you
want to
feel
think,
about it?
Exactly. I don't want to be thinking, oh, so and so is going to see this. And,
Like, set yourself free, and you'll be.
Free
See,
yourself.
This is the
Free
difference
yourself.
between
What's
the
your-
generations.
Exactly.
Right
What's your
now.
guilty pleasure, Kevin Rose? What do
I like stupid Christmas music, and I love it.
Sure.
Play in the house.
You know what?
It's great.
Let's all be promiscuous like Kevin Rose.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you mean.
Here's
I'm
the
just
other.
saying.
Share and share alike.
Musically promiscuous. I
When
mean.
All right,
you
thank
start
you.
sharing your music, even if you're thinking, oh, I don't care what anybody thinks, you're still thinking that as opposed to just listening to it.
So it bothers you behind the scenes, like
Exactly.
At some low
little bit of-
level, it's like I have to think about another thing instead of just
See,
Well,
Mark-
let's
cranking
talk
up,
about
you know.
one of these things about Google launching Google Music. Let's talk about like download versus stream, because that's something that I've now moved on to all
I
streaming.
think that's what
Yeah,
happened. It
likewise.
changed,
And I
right?
feel like, you know, I used to buy the albums on iTunes because I felt like I was doing the right thing. And now I'm just like, I haven't bought an album in forever because I have Spotify and it works fine. It has 90% of
Right.
the stuff
Yeah.
I want. Like, do we need another like pay to download this song
It's
Same
service?
thing
Pandora
with
trained
iTunes
us.
Match. I'm too exhausted to
Yeah,
load up all
I'm
my
the
things.
same way. I don't
just
use Match
throw
at
everything
all.
out and just do Spotify. It's like no, I throw up all my mixtapes.
I did it. It's funny. I did both Google Music, uploaded 20,000
Oh,
songs.
God.
I did iTunes Match.
I did it all.
download
Just
everything.
to try it.
Yeah. But you're right. I just listen to Spotify.
So I did all of it, and now it's Spotify on my Sonos, and I'm delighted.
on
Yes,
the Sonos.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, there's the killer app.
Although I
Okay.
did keep my
right.
mixtapes.
We're not going to have much of a show today because everything is just.
Before we move on from music, here's the thing that makes me wonder. MySpace exists still, believe it or not.
MySpace exists.
And there's a lot of music activity,
I will
music
grant
people,
you that.
MySpace.
and so on going on
Rest in
with
peace.
Imagine what would happen if various people bought MySpace. What
Well,
would happen if
wait
Google
a minute.
bought-
Somebody did buy MySpace.
But if
Yes,
somebody
these dudes in
bought
Los
them-
Angeles.
yeah, right. But when that doesn't
Timberlake,
work out-
Justin
Did
Timberlake.
not buy it.
that was a publicity stunt.
publicity. stuff.
Wait a minute. He
It was
did.
stunt
Yeah.
venture casting.
So he didn't have any money in it at all.
I-
He was an investor.
yes, supposedly.
That he was an investor was the marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Essentially.
They still haven't released.
So they said,
the
"We'll give
plan
you
yet.
some shares."
That's right.
Justin, if we can use your name.
The Timberlake magic rubs off on the service and stuff like that. Whatever. Somebody eventually is going to buy it. And what if
And
Google
it will
bought
be
it?
cheap.
What if Apple bought it? What if Apple bought it and created a,
So
It's dead.
it's dead.
It's dead.
It was even a joke on Glee. They had someone on Glee, and they said, "Oh, Rachel, she's still on MySpace."
No,
They
kiss
go,
of death.
That's not true. Nobody's on MySpace.
does any,
Did they say that?
Yeah, that was
Awesome.
very funny. It was very,
That
last
sounds like a
week-
Sue Sylvester line.
No,
if
it
you
was
ask
one of
me.
the kids. They were campaigning for class president. It was an
So,
anti.
okay, well, all right, Google Music, I'm just trying to think of some reason why this could be important. They now have that free share a song with anybody on Google Plus. So I bought it, and when I buy the album, they say, "Do you want to share it on Google Plus?" And then everybody who's in your group can listen to that entire album for free
Why would
once.
anybody want to buy an album on Google Plus unless you're an Android user already?
Oh, you're right. It doesn't make any
there's
sense.
I mean-
no conversation about music on Google Plus. It's all about photography.
It is. Well, it depends who you circle.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean, it's really not the place where
You're just suffering the Scoble effect.
That's probably
No,
true.
you know what? I did the same thing as Mike did, which is I followed all those photographers, and now it's all pictures in my stream.
That's right.
And they're great pictures. I did the same
They're
thing.
wonderful.
They're
I
beautiful.
don't.
I check them out all the time.
But it does. But you know, I think that you shape Google Plus to whatever you circle, obviously. So if somebody's circled a bunch of independent artists,
Good God. I have to feed my children every morning. I don't have time to circle anybody. Honestly. It's like, here, you know, you have to pump your own gas, and now you have to, like, sort your friends out on the...
it's too much work. He's saying. Mark said that. He said nobody wants to make lists.
Nobody wants to make lists.
So what do? You just.
I don't.
You don't.
How about that?
Are you on Facebook?
The Facebook?
The Facebook?
I like to call it the Facebook.
I think so.
I am on the Facebook, but I ignore it most of the time. And I just use Twitter, and if people want to find me,
You're prolific on Twitter, though.
I am. I love Twitter. Twitter's useful for something.
I feel like
me.
Twitter's old hat, but maybe that's just because
It's very simple. It's a very simple
What do you
exchange
think,
of
Kevin?
information.
I would say you're the bellwether.
Well, I don't want to. I was a MA shareholder of Twitter stocks, so I'm sharing Twitter and all that stuff.
The problem with
I sold
Twitter,
some of it, though, when they did that
Hey,
big
I like
sale.
this Apple pullover. That's
Thank
cool.
you. I got that at Apple.
Steve give you that?
Yeah.
the problem with Twitter versus Google Plus is that you just, you know, in 10 seconds you can hook it up so that everything you post on Google Plus goes out on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, for me, Twitter, I'm just done using Twitter. It just happens automatically.
Twitter feels almost like the ghetto now. I mean, it's just I can't understand it. It's gibberish. There's so many hashtags and abbreviation. I'm getting old. It's just like I don't get it. The kids are talking.
I like
there.
getting.
I did a...
I'm old too. Don't worry. I'm very old.
I'm old.
I used Twitter for the first time this week in a couple of months.
After you use Google Plus for a while and read declarative sentences and prose, and you go to Twitter, it's like what are you kids
We're all
talking
just
about?
getting, like social networking fatigue.
Exactly.
Like
Do you
I
know-
don't like any of them anymore.
I don't
Like,
either. I just, you know, I was the other day I was writing about something, and I said, "When's the last time you read something that you didn't have to share, that you said nothing about, like you saw a movie or read something in a book and you just didn't share it?"
Wow, wouldn't that be weird?
I know, like I
You mean have a life?
like not share it, and it was.
You wrote a post about
I
that
did
with,
write that post.
with social networking.
This is the next big move, by the way.
Hermit.
And my 19-year-old daughter predicted this a year ago. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, I'm done with the internet."
He had ice cream
I'm
with his
done.
son and didn't tell anyone until he wrote a column about it.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
How dare you?
Not tell anybody?
Not tell anyone.
I was going to oink my caramel cone.
Yes, where's the pictures?
But I couldn't get connectivity at the buy rate.
Photos or it didn't happen.
Buy right.
And they did you a
Yes.
favor.
I was a total hipster,
it
right?
Sucks.
Yeah.
No, that's a great restaurant or a great
Yeah.
Ice cream
market.
You know what I did?
But you know
Nice
what? Let me tell you. So I didn't tell
Buy right.
anybody. I ended up
They
not
have like
telling anybody.
lavender. They have like lavender.
liberating.
It was great.
Are you kidding me?
Is that BIRIT?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
With-
it's
with
right
a
on.
hyphen.
It's
It's
on Dolores and
phenomenal.
Dolores
You're
life-changing.
18th.
You're really not. You're not a
Yeah.
hipster until
Although
you've had a cone of buy right.
Although
Yeah.
your chart said that you were prone to cardiovascular or whatever.
Yeah, you
I
are.
can't go to
Maybe you
Byright.
better not discover Byright.
I admit that I did today delete Foursquare from my iPhone.
Really?
It's the only way I will not use it is if it's just gone.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because I
Well, try Facebook. You can't use that anyway. 'cause
I
it
find
crashes.
myself compulsively checking in, and I just realized, wait a minute, I don't even know where I am anymore. I'm just like this all the time.
Interesting.
'Cause
So
I wanna
you're going
get
to
the
become
points.
you're going to become the angry old man shaking his fist at the internet.
I
soon?
don't want to be
Does
that.
Dvorak know Elon?
No, I don't want to be that. I want to be. I guess this is early adopter disease. Is what it really is. Is that we're burned out because we've been doing this for too long. But I love that oink.
You should have a whole hermit thing going on.
I love that.
I don't know. I don't want to be that guy.
don't
We
have
already
to-
got the Dvorak for one thing. But I don't need to be that guy, and I don't want to be that guy.
Well, use it for
Write
what you
your
like.
own.
Use it for what you like. That's what the best
Plurk
part
is up
about
for
this.
sale, right? Can you still?
What is
I don't know. Plurk, Pounce, one of those
Plurk.
things.
Pounds have been sold.
Plurk? Pounce is gone.
Oh, you were involved in Pounce.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
yes.
one of the.
Sold.
iTunes Match,
part.
nothing. Google Music, nothing. It's funny. They're too late to the party because of Spotify. 200
Well,
plus.
Spotify-
But Spotify, it was late to the party because Spotify came after Mog and Rhapsody.
Love
and
Mog. Love Rdio.
Rdio was awesome. I was on Rdio until I went to Spotify. They're all good.
See?
We sound like.
And then you'll be on something else.
Yeah,
Another
well,
promiscuous
what about
one
this?
down
The
there.
200.
totally.
200
Well, as long as there's no termination clause
Or
on
disease that could
Spotify.
follow.
An ETF. 200 plus labels withdrew their music from Spotify this week.
You know who I think could give
I don't know what
Spotify a
labels
run for
there
their
are.
money?
There
And-
aren't 200 labels. There's 3. But
Yeah,
these
Those
are
are a lot of
the
labels.
little guys, right?
but and I think Amazon. We probably want to talk at some point about whether Amazon's going to have a phone.
Yes, that's coming. Don't get ahead. We got a whole list of
I'm ahead of my
things.
time.
You're getting rerunning. So a study claims that streaming music is damaging to record sales.
Fine.
So a distributor named ST Holdings, it represents 200 labels focusing on techno, grime, dubstep, and bass music. You're going to have to explain that to me, Kevin. I don't-
Dubstep's the new stuff.
I love dubstep.
That's because there you go.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Did
pretty
you record that?
surprised.
We can.
Wait for the drop. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, you're not going to hear a lot of dubstep on Spotify, which is fine. 238 labels contacted. I guess they're small from this ST Holdings. 4 said they'll keep it, and the rest said 234 labels gone.
They had to have a study to know that streaming music is like damaging sales. Really? I mean,
know.
Well, but
it's
that is the
so-
problem with Spotify. We know this. You
Of
don't make
course.
any money when people listen to your music on Spotify.
Because you don't have to pay for it. You just
Right.
and you stream it. Like,
Right.
Seems pretty straightforward.
So if you're a musician, are you screwed?
well, you get a few cents every song, right?
You have to tour.
That's
You-
right. They
That's
make
what
the money
the
from
Grateful
concerts
Dead
now.
figured this out 30 years ago.
But that only works for the Shakiras of the world.
Yeah,
It
how many
doesn't
people
work
can
for them.
tour?
They
I
come
mean,
up with the ice
well, you
cream
gotta
one as
work.
well.
Yeah.
You gotta
Grateful
work.
Dead ice cream is amazing.
Ice cream?
Yeah.
Ice cream
Ben
sandwich?
and Jerry's. No,
Ben
it's
and
Ben
Jerry's.
Jerry's.
Yeah.
Ben and Jerry's.
It's like
Are we back on ice
see
cream?
the
Jerry
fish
Garcia.
one.
He's talking
Jerry
about
Garcia.
Yeah.
You make money doing that
It's
as
a
well.
fish one too.
Selling your name to Ben and Jerry's?
Yes.
Ben and Jerry's is the new power on the internet for artists.
Have you had this sweaty balls?
Have you been
It's
to
just
buy-
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
good.
What
They're
is
tasty.
that? What is that?
I've heard about it because I watch Twitter.
Both
and-
that because of the name. I didn't know idea what it meant, referred to.
well, it's the chef and
SNL.
yes, you know. But I don't understand what does it taste like? This sweaty balls.
I'm not even going to go there.
What is it? I mean, is it salty?
Jeez.
No, I'm just. What if you were going to make an ice cream, which apparently they did?
I'm so glad I let my children go to Happy Feet too instead of coming here to watch.
I want to
this.
be at Happy Feet too.
Go
So
to buy right, people.
they have lavender.
Yeah.
They don't
They
have
do.
sweaty.
They do. They have
okay.
lavender caramel.
It's a limited batch flavor, an ode to a classic. Oh, that's the Saturday Night Live. I was thinking of the chef from South Park's salty.
No, this is the this is Saturday Night
This is a different. Okay, so
Oh, there's a video.
there's a video. It's a limited batch, but they don't describe the flavor.
It's rum vanilla with little
Oh, here it
malted
is.
milk.
Hint
balls
of
in it.
rum.
It's good.
Loaded with
But
fudge
I'm never buying it again because of what it's called.
Yeah.
and chocolate-covered malt balls.
Now we've just taken all the mystery out of it.
Exactly.
We killed it for everybody.
So
Sorry.
so what does this have to do with anything? I'm going back to 200 labels
Yeah,
dropping
let's
to
go back to
Spotify.
the internet stuff.
All right. Let's take a break. I wish I had Ben and Jerry's as a sponsor because we could all be enjoying sweaty balls right now. Hint, hint. Ben or Jerry, either one of you, call me. Let's talk about Ford. They're so glad for this moment in time that they are here on the show. Actually, Ford is doing some amazing stuff. Thanks to their new CEO. He's been there 4 years now. Alan Mullally. Came from Boeing. Engineer, I like that. He was the guy who said, you know what, there's going to be a little tough time in the economy. Let's make sure we shore up our finances so we don't have to take money from the government. They didn't take money from the government. He also was the guy who designed the 777 cockpit at Boeing. And I think if you look at modern Ford vehicles, you might see a little correlation there.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I interviewed him.
isn't he
We
a
had him
good
at
guy?
D. One of the best D interviews. He didn't get as much attention as the Steve
CEOs
Jobs.
are not normally good interviews.
He's fantastic.
They're too guarded. They don't really ever say
He's
anything.
He almost got me to buy a Ford. I just wasn't buying a car at the time. But
Buy
I
a
have to
Ford.
say, I'm going. My next car is going to be a Ford.
I drive
because of him.
a Mustang.
He's been, he's been named as a possible Microsoft CEO after Ballmer. It's interesting. There's
Please
this
don't
name.
leave Ford.
I'm just saying and he always wears this sort of red
He was sweater vest. Cardigans. Yeah, he's
vest,
great. He gave me a kiss the last time I saw
Yeah,
him.
he's really
He's great.
fascinating guy. He's a really interesting. And
was
kind of
interesting.
intriguing fellow.
Not the best kiss I ever had. Anyway, the Ford.com/technology, they've made a page. One of the things he decided to do is really become more of a consumer electronics company, and I think that this vision is happening thanks to Ford Sync and My Ford Touch. By the way, it's interesting. I can't remember. Used to be you'd buy a car and it's unchanged until you sell it, right? My Ford Touch, they're going to send out next year 250,000 USB keys so people can plug it into their car and update the My Ford Touch software.
Yeah.
Because people were saying it's too hard to use. They said, okay,
It is hard to use.
it's software.
That's what's going on. They treat their cars like gadgets.
It's a consumer electronics company. That's why they keynoted it at CES the last 3 years.
They've got to make this stuff easy in a car, though. I mean, it just seems.
I
silly to
actually
make it
like My
difficult.
Ford Touch because I'm a geek. You know, I like things like the cruise control. You set the miles per hour. You know exactly. I want to go 56 miles, and it does that. I didn't have any trouble with My Ford Touch. I understand some people did. It's going to be updated because it's software. The Ford Sync. You talk to your car. This is Siri 3 years ago. And in fact, now they've got the Wi-Fi access spots. But we always talk about Ford Sync, and I always forget that primarily this is a GPS system. It is simply put the best GPS system I've ever used. If you haven't used the Ford Sync GPS system, it will get you there. Little things that are nice, better than an aftermarket GPS because it integrates with the car. For instance, when you get to the 50-mile left warning, all the gas stations pop up on your GPS, so you just know where the nearest gas station is. It'll tell you where the lowest prices are. The incredible EcoBoost engines, the electric engines, the plug-in hybrids. I'm on the list for a 2012 electric Ford Focus when those come out. I'm very excited about that. In fact, that's where you'll see this My Ford Touch and Sync at its best advantages in that 2012 Ford Focus. My Key for teenagers. You don't need this yet, Kara, but you're gonna.
Mm-hmm.
It tells the car what the maximum speed can be, the maximum volume on the audio.
Yeah, my children aren't going to be driving until they're 53.
Yeah, I know.
You say that now. Wait.
Wait.
It's coming.
Actually, my son, for some reason, he's 17. He still hasn't taken the driver's test. I'm going, please don't take the test. My daughter took it like the minute she could. Anyway, the fuel light comes on 75 miles to empty instead of 50 because they know teenagers never fill the tank. I just love Ford. Ford.com/technology. Drive one today at a Ford dealer near you. Do take a look at the Sync and My Ford Touch. I think you'll love it. And we thank Ford so much for their support. And tip of the hat to Alan and his whole team. Really, he's put together a great team. Even their marketing is very
Have you seen the new Mustangs? We got one of Vision 3. They're fast.
How come they give you a Mustang? I bought my Mustang. Did they give you one?
Yeah, totally. Give us one. Come on. You got that kind of pull, Leo. You can make it happen.
No, I actually went to a Ford dealer in town.
They don't give it to us.
And
to
I
keep.
paid. Oh, you have to give it back.
Yeah, we have to give it back. But you get it for like 3 months.
I think they know that I'm kind of a lead foot, and if I got the new one, I would just. But I have the GT. I have it's nice. But I know the new engines are just amazing. Okay, let's. Gosh, what can we? Oh, the Kindle Fire.
Sucks. Move on.
What? I love it.
It's horrible.
What?
It's heavy. It feels like you're gonna drop it. It's laggy.
It's dense. It
Laggy is
feels
probably-
solid. I didn't find it laggy at all.
Mr. Mossberg
I know
agrees
Walt
with you.
did, but he got a pre-release, I'm sure. I bought
I
it.
bought mine too. I sold it the same day.
Really?
Yeah,
That
it's
bad.
just like
You didn't wait for the mic.
Chad, would you get me my Kindle Fire?
it's really. You've held one, right?
No, I haven't.
It's
actually.
It feels like you're going to the gym.
But I believe the reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really heavy.
No,
and
I
if
love
you
it.
Drop it, you're kind of screwed.
It's 7 inches, which is a great size. It feels solid. And I put it in a
They had the
case.
Facebook app on the front. It was like one of the default icons, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, Facebook's built in. I hit it, and it launches m.facebook.com. Like the
Yeah, that was kind of
mobile
lame. It was a
Facebook. I'm like,
bookmark. That
what?
was kind of lame.
Yeah. He does not
Anyway.
like it.
The
He will not be
device was
keeping
not
it.
created for the Kevin Roses of the world, however. It's cheap.
I like it.
nice thing.
$200.
Really
If you,
cheap.
if you can't afford an iPad, it's a
Is it not-
$200
is it not in there?
$200 Amazon digital
You should
storefront.
save your money and save it for an iPad.
Wow,
Yeah, I call the Kindle Fire the iPad for my mother.
They're going to sell
Yeah, my
6
mom-
You know, I
million
was
this
thinking about
quarter.
getting one for my mom.
My mom,
actually.
yeah. My mom likes the Kindle and she wants to play
I
colorful
love the
crossword.
Kindle. The standard Kindle.
My mom, but she wants to like do touchscreen stuff, so it's.
Well, they have the new Kindle Touch now too.
No, don't get
But it's
that.
not-
That
Oh,
I will
really?
say don't get.
I don't. I haven't used that one.
No,
yet.
don't get the Kindle
Do you
Touch.
Have it?
Yeah, we played with it, and it's not responsive. It's dumb. Just get the physical buttons on the $70. What is it, $80 Kindle?
Yeah, that's what I bought. I bought the
It's
$80
fine.
one.
It's little. You can put it in your pocket.
Yeah, it's nice.
Now, Barnes & Noble responds with Jane
Nook
Lynch.
is fantastic on the.
See, yeah, I heard this one is great.
Well,
This one's great.
yeah, see, I think it's the same thing.
It's got twice the processor speed, better battery life.
Can you hear my audio, or is it not?
Look at that.
I got to hear
Smooth.
Jane. I got to hear Jane. You don't hear any audio?
Oh, is she doing it for? That's
Yeah. Come on.
She's fine.
Nothing, huh? Oh, man.
I could pull it up.
She's a friend of mine. She's
No
great.
way.
Yeah,
Really?
really good friend of mine.
She was at D.
No,
She was at D. She
was-
opened D
oh,
this
really?
year.
She was
She
awesome.
did a funny thing at
Yeah,
D.
she
That was
pretended she
very
was the
funny.
acting CEO of News Corp. It was fantastic.
Did you get any? Because
Seems
of
like
course
school.
D is owned
got-
by News Corp.
yes.
Did you get any pushback from that at all?
I think Jane is a little bit of a star there, so I don't think they push her around.
They love
too
her.
much. And
Oh, Fox, Glee.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
yeah, I think they leave Jane Lynch alone for now.
Okay, here we go. Let me see.
And also Rupert's busy with other things, I think.
I'm Jane Lynch, and this hot thing's the brand new Nook tablet.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
their fastest, lightest tablet with all my favorite books.
So it's lighter.
She said love. Excited.
And the best streaming movies. See?
High score.
Introducing Nook tablet. Books, the best in HD entertainment, Facebook, apps.
As far as I can tell, this is a Kindle Fire from Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, but that one people think is fantastic.
I don't get the
comparatively.
difference.
I think it's more responsive and quicker.
This
to
is your
use.
fire,
No, this is
Be
Brian's
careful,
fire.
it's heavy.
Brian?
It's heavy.
You heard somebody.
Let me see.
Gotta
Let me
start
see. Let me
working
see.
out
Let me
more.
see. Let me see. I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
it's not heavy. And look, okay, responsive. Let's see. I don't know. It feels pretty responsive to me. Let's open a book here. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, he hasn't.
There's your
downloaded it.
camera.
Oh, you got
Can
it.
I check?
Okay.
Can I carry it?
Well, let me just show. Let me just show the folks at home. Oh, Brian, you're a motorcyclist. Interesting. This is a failing, but I don't think this will be a failing for long. Most of these
You see how
magazines,
those menus appear and
they
disappear?
look
It's
like they're
it's
PDFs.
like
I agree. This
made
is lame,
coprocessor.
but I
I
don't.
think it's slow.
It doesn't
See?
feel
See how it feels like a little,
Slow.
little
It's a little
chunky?
chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
$200, man.
No, I'm not saying it. I mean, it seems like a good value.
Which is the kiss of death among your crowd. You can play Plants vs. Zombies. I don't know. Okay, here you play with it. And see
I
what
think
you
our-
I like it.
Our expectations were reset by Apple, which
Yeah.
nailed it out of the park with the initial release of the iPad. But I mean, this is here to stay, and it's
agree.
just going to keep getting cheaper and better.
They
And
now
it's-
have upped their shipments to. They think they're going to sell 6 million in the quarter.
and,
6 million.
and it's subsidized. And really, what this is a cash register for Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a window to spending all your money.
I think
with
it's a
the-
completely
And
legitimate,
streaming media.
inexpensive tablet for at least half the people who would buy an iPad instead.
I think they can
And
make
they'll
it
become-
sleeker.
It's version 1.
It's
of
a
the color
V1.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
Remember the
to be
first
fair.
Kindle? That was the worst industrial design ever. There's the only thing I really don't like about it is the on-off switches right on the bottom there where it's easy to knock.
Here's the most interesting thing about it. It's a disaster for Google, in my opinion, because what they're doing is Amazon is using Android to decimate the rest of the Android tablet
It's
market.
easily the best Android tablet.
for
you would
sure.
grant
And
me
by
that,
far
right?
the cheapest
next
because
supposed
it's
to be better, right?
subsidized. I mean, they're just there's a scorched earth on Amazon on pricing.
Ooh.
I always test everything, but Angry Birds is sort of my way I test
That's your
everything.
standard for.
If Angry Birds pleases me.
I like 7 inches. I think that's a nice size.
Yeah, it's a nice size.
You can type on your thumbs.
But you're
with
right, the forking. And as soon as
It is
Facebook
Android,
comes
but
out-
who knew,
Well,
right?
most Android tablets, I mean, I have
But this is
apparently the
ultimate
best one, the
forking.
Galaxy Tab.
Yeah.
I cannot stand it.
I can't stand those
Yeah.
either. But even worse is the pricing. Nobody else will be able to sell an Android tablet if you can buy that
That's right.
subsidized.
Yeah.
It's much cheaper. It's really good. It has all these other benefits. And again, they're using Google's own Android to poison the Android
That's
ecosystem for
interesting.
tablets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as soon as Facebook comes out with its device or whatever it's
Will
called.
they?
Yeah, sure.
The phone? It'll be a phone or a tablet?
I mean, everyone's going to be forking this
Something.
thing.
Everybody's going to do a,
Stick a fork in it.
device.
Honestly.
And what about an Android? I keep hearing these Amazon phone rumors.
Yeah.
Is there any credit? Well,
I think it's going to happen. And
All Things D
um,
had the story.
We did. Peter
So
Croft did it.
you think it's going to happen too?
No, he was quoting a Citicorp.
Who was quoting
analyst.
Digitime. It's
Yeah,
always
Digitime.
Digitimes, all these rumors.
You know, it makes sense. It makes sense. Why not? Why not do it?
Here's what they.
mean-
Why do it?
and this is what I wanted to.
Because
This I was.
so people can have choice. You're not going to just be in these Android phones.
They're
Here-
gonna use
here's
it
a
to go
book.
out-
Here's a book. I'm going to turn the page of the book. Can you show this thing? Does this feel slow to you? There's a little hesitation, but that's
Yes,
not going
yes.
to kill you.
Well, I mean,
It's
there
fine.
shouldn't be hesitation
fine.
in
It's
flipping a page of a book. I mean, really? Like,
Have you
it should
ever
be clean.
flipped a page on a book?
There's a little hesitation. No, I'm
It's
just saying, like,
faster
on-
than a
on
book.
The iPad, like it's just really clean and smooth.
I understand the
It's
iPad is
attention to
beautiful
detail.
and
That's all I'm
elegant.
getting at.
I
Like, I'm not
understand.
saying this.
That's what,
device
by the way,
sucks.
what people have said for years about iPhone versus Android phones. It hasn't stopped people from buying Android phones
Right.
like crazy. And I think this is.
Because they're cheap, mostly.
Yeah, they'll fix. They'll
Is it
fix
about
that.
price?
They'll fix
It
it.
is about
Yes.
price, and here's what I think Amazon is going to do with the upcoming phone. They're going to target the youth market. They're going to have a subsidized phone,
Free. Might as well do it free, right?
free or close to free. You don't want it to be completely free because then you get all the people who will never spend anything.
Yeah, okay.
Gobbling up resources.
you're right.
But you know, you get people to sign up for a music service, for example, and they get a free phone. This is really compelling to a lot of teenagers and young people who don't have parents who buy them their own little iPhone, which is the majority of young people. And this could be a huge benefit for all of Amazon's digital offerings of movies and music and stuff like that. Where's the new Sidekick going to be? Like right now,
Sidekick.
Remember Sidekick for a while?
Yeah, I
was
remember
the,
Sidekick.
It
What
was,
do you mean?
But it
They
was,
lose
but it was
the
the
smartphone for
hot.
teens.
It was the hot phone for young people.
And then Microsoft did the Kin, same market,
and they strangled it. Right, but there's the Sidekick of the future could very well be the Amazon Kindle phone. You know, $50, and you.
I think
with
Facebook
music.
is going to have something to say about that first.
They have to.
And if a Facebook phone comes out, teenagers are going to go to that like crazy, right?
Could be.
That replaces BBM in the high schools. Facebook.
Why do you
Messenger.
need a Facebook phone?
Because Google's going to shove them off of either Google, unless they do some sort of Apple
Why does
deal.
Facebook need it, or why is a
There
teenager
won't be a
need it?
default install.
Yeah, they
on-
might be, but they can start shoving them down. You know, I would think they'd want something where they have a social operating system kind of thing. Why not? I mean, what it is the expense of creating these things it can be quite high, and the expertise levels that are needed. But it seems like mobile is where most of Mark Zuckerberg's customers are using Facebook. And so you either decide your HBO and all the cable companies have to have you,
Right.
or you worry that perhaps someday they might not have to have you. So
the theory really is that all technology interaction, all screen interaction is going to go to the phone.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a technology company that interacts with consumers like Amazon or Facebook, you better have a phone.
you don't have to now. You don't have to now. You can just own the operating system, and then you have all these manufacturers.
That's what Google did.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a version of a Facebook phone, but not a very serious one. I just think, why not? Why not have?
Nothing's going to go to the phone exclusively, but everything will have to be on phones, and people will use phones for all digital content.
So are you thinking that Facebook is actually going to manufacture a phone, or are they going to create an operating system that is forked off of Android and provide it to carriers?
That's what I mean, I think that's something they've talked about.
Is actually manufacturing a phone?
No, not manufacturing.
Branding,
no,
Facebook
yes.
branded.
Okay.
Yes.
Aren't there already Facebook branded phones?
There are, but something that's much more Facebook.
Facebook
with a more integrated address book.
Yeah.
Call from your Facebook menus. Skype built in. 'Cause
Skype
now
built
Facebook
in.
and Skype are like married.
So do you even need to have a wireless? Do you even need to have cell phone connection anymore?
Mobile broadband.
That's changing.
What if ever? I mean, it didn't. Apple apparently. There's a story in here that
company that
Steve Jobs wanted to have his own wireless network built on the Wi-Fi spectrum, and I think that's something that's in the works with other companies.
To do
right?
an end around
Don't even
cellular.
Don't even do
when,
cellular.
Well, you need cellular for when you're not in Wi-Fi coverage. But actually, you know,
because we've got these companies that are doing kind of satellite Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah,
everywhere.
a lot of people imagine this. Google was looking into stuff like this.
Right.
I mean, this makes.
I always thought Google was in the Spectrum auctions
when I'm talking about the Facebook
get
thing, it just
this
makes
stuff.
a lot of sense. I mean, why wouldn't they think about?
So
something
we're
like
seeing
they are terrified of Google. They are, and they don't have a good relationship with Apple. They've tried at various times.
That's
but
not
I think they were surprised. Someone just the other day who would know was telling me that they were surprised by the Twitter deal that Apple did. But they've had a very difficult not the same kind of bad relationship they have with Google, but it's definitely a very troubled relationship with Apple, and that's their natural ally, I would think.
Microsoft is their natural ally now.
Is their ally.
Their only ally.
But one of their allies.
Their unnatural ally.
Well, Microsoft has Skype. I just think Skype is one of these things they bought. They didn't really. I think it's a very valuable thing in the phone area. It could be. And they
Skype replaces cell phone.
What if they? I mean, this is just me. I sit around and a lot of people say, "How do you come up with your scoops?" I just sit around and think of what could happen, and then start to check it as if it's true. Sort of like 3 Days of the Condor, and like imagine things. And one of them to me is, what if Microsoft sold Bing to Facebook, or gave Bing to Facebook? What if Microsoft gave Skype to Facebook, or did something where they got more stock? I mean, you could start to think of some really interesting scenarios in that case. And so you need a phone. Like, what if there was a Skype integration with a Facebook, and they already are? It
seems to fit Mark Zuckerberg's worldview and plan.
Exactly.
Absolutely, right?
So I'm thinking, like, why does some business development dude in wearing khakis smarter than I am, or Kevin, or anybody else? It's just, you can sit there and start to think of what they must be thinking of. And to me, some sort of link with Skype and a phone, and it just makes sense for them.
Wouldn't Microsoft try and push their own OS, though, with a deal like that?
Not necessarily. No, I don't think so. I think they're very hands-off. It just seems like...
So here's the scenario.
To me, the Bing thing into Facebook would be super... They've
I can
thought
see
of
that
it.
coming.
They've thought of that, for sure.
Here's the scenario. Microsoft's Windows Phone Nokia deal tumbles in a year. It didn't work. They're going to get less than 10% market share. It's over. Microsoft starts to back off on the consumer market, sees itself as an enterprise play, says, oh, maybe we're a B2B company. Maybe we're an IBM.
Xbox.
Maybe we're a
Right,
services
they
company.
split it
No,
out.
it's not.
Xbox, they might spin off there.
Yeah, they might spin it off. They just Yusuf Mehdi just went over there to be head of marketing, which is interesting.
Tom and I
Then, if they're an enterprise company, then it's not such a big deal to say, okay, let's sell Bing and Skype.
I gotta think it's a very smart move for them to to be thinking of that strong, because they could be paying for the costs of Bing. The technology.
Bing's a huge money. Their online presence is
$750 million.
huge
a
money
quarter.
loser. Yeah.
Yes, it is. But but if they got if they move it into you just have to move it over to where it does make money.
The important thing is that Google fails, not that Microsoft succeeds in search. Right? That's really what it's all about.
But it's an interesting idea. It's just
Who is that the important thing for? Microsoft?
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
As long as somebody uses Bing to make Google less attractive in some way.
Bing,
Well,
if you
Apple's
look
already
at
doing that with Siri.
if you look at all the partners,
They're
Bing
Bing.
actually has a fairly respectable percentage of sales. It's like
It's
over
okay.
20%.
No. Together with Yahoo, it is.
If you include all the all the
Yes.
flavors of
And
Bing.
who knows what's going to happen there? I mean, that's an interesting situation, because it really whatever happens to Yahoo it deals with market share, and it could drop Bing quite far down again.
We know it will be a very interesting few years.
Yes, it will be, for sure.
That much we know. We also know that the most likely iPad buyer is a male pet-owning gamer who may be a scientist.
Oh dear.
I decided I had to go buy a pet now.
Because in every other respect, you fit.
Exactly.
Like
that
one of
fits
my
me to the T,
17.
actually. My girlfriend's a scientist, and I have a pet.
So this is why you hate the Kindle Fire.
People who like organic food. buy the
Ina
iPad.
Fried's article in All
Oh,
Things
Ina,
T.
yeah,
I love it. Ina, is that how you pronounce it?
Ina.
And is
You
this
can say Ina, I think. I don't know. It's
Ina? You say tomato. The
We
folks
call
at
her
the
Machine Gun Fried.
Machine Gun Fried
writes
says
so much. Yeah,
Blue
she's
Kai
fantastic.
has made this infographic. I love infographics. They
yeah,
tell you
it's
nothing, but they tell you nothing in such a pleasant way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Ben and Jerry's sweaty balls.
That's right.
ComScore found that 45.9% of all tablet owners belong to households earning $100,000 a year or more.
Shocker.
It's an boy, as you could be affluent. Nielsen says 70% of all iPad use, 70% of all iPad use occurs in front of a TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Get ready for the Apple TV.
70%.
Yeah, I use it.
70%.
That's where you use it. I mean, and Apple knew that. I mean, remember that Steve Jobs
People must have TVs in their bathrooms.
rolled out the iPad sitting on a couch.
Oh, I guess that's the other 30%.
But yeah, I mean, that's what people, that's where people use it. And that's why it's so shocking to me that Google Plus does not have a real app for the iPad or for the tablet that anybody would want to use.
terrible.
And Facebook doesn't either. The Facebook app is awful.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really? I like the
I
Facebook
don't
app.
like it at
The
all.
new
I was
Facebook
yeah,
app?
the
Wow.
new
On the
For the
iPad?
iPad, I kind of like it.
it took them forever to get out there, and it's
Crashbook?
just kind of blah.
Does it crash a lot?
Yeah,
It's-
it does for me, yeah.
It's horrible, but to me, the social networking, sitting in front of the TV on an iPad, is the nirvana that nobody seems to recognize. But that's what America wants to do: is sit in front
You know
of the
who
TV
else wants
and use
that?
an iPad.
The television networks. They find that
Yeah.
ratings go through the roof when
Look-
people are tweeting about their shows.
These-
Look
these-
at Glee's a good example.
These services of social TV
Glee
watching
doesn't do
services,
a promo without a hashtag
Right.
on every ad.
Really interesting. We had Steve Levitan, who running Modern Family, who's the creator of Modern Family, one of them at D last year, and he was talking about that most of the internet stuff was useless to him, except that they watch Twitter during the show to see what jokes work. Because if people tweet about the jokes,
They
then
retweet the joke.
Well, then they insult each other. The writers go, "See, I told you that would
Yeah,
work."
I think
So-
Steve's missing a bet.
Oh
I
no,
think
he's a very big geek. He's actually a huge geek. He's fantastic, and he's the main character, Phil Dunphy. That's him.
He's him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a big geek. But he was trying to think of ways that it was particularly helpful to
Well,
ratings.
I think
but he
it
said
drives
does-
audience. I think, well, maybe not for Modern Family, but for the Oscars, for the Super Bowl.
It could. He just didn't
For
know where it
event-driven.
translated. And I think the problem with Hollywood is it's not clear. If he has all these views on Hulu, if he gets paid for it, like he doesn't get they don't get credit for internet stuff. They get credit for Nielsen ratings. And so he was talking about when is it going to switch where we do get credit for internet watches, which is a very fair point.
Is it telling in any way that Bob Iger is now, the CEO of Disney, is now on the Apple board? No.
Makes sense.
Makes sense because Disney Apple, it's like a nexus.
I guess
kind of a thing.
I guess his Steve's wife will be the biggest shareholder of.
That's
of
right.
I was
Yeah,
wondering about
something
that.
occurred
What
to
happened
me.
to the family shares there?
No, the family gets them. I guess.
Do
The
Steve
kids.
Jobs' kids tell their friends, Mickey Mouse? Yeah, we own that.
We own him.
He owns a lot of it.
We're the large. Well, it's only 6 or 7%.
He's
but
the
it's
largest,
still the largest
shareholder.
lot.
But still, if I was a 6th grader, I would.
It's a big piece of the
And the
Magic
new
Kingdom.
chairman of the Apple board is the chairman of Genentech,
Right.
which is interesting. It's a good board, though. I think it's a Steve Jobs built board, and it makes sense that Bob Iger would be on it.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say anything. It's not telling. It's not Hollywood comes to Silicon Valley.
He's also very internet savvy,
Right.
a lot compared to a lot of Hollywood people.
Let's do a commercial and come back with more. We got a great panel. It's so much fun to have these smart people here, so I can learn.
As opposed to the dumb people.
Oh, we have dumb panels,
really?
trust me.
Really?
But I'm learning, you know, that the
When we
fire.
leave, you'll be
I
saying
thought
that
this
about
was
us.
good. I thought Facebook and I thought it was good. See,
Now you know.
Now I know. I have to
Did you see
reform.
the swipe to unlock on that?
Yeah. What about it?
Kevin will
the
not
other
give
way.
up.
They did. I mean, they're like, let's be different. Let's make it swipe the other way to unlock. And you're like, really? We already know how to swipe the other way. I don't know.
I like the
This is
Bing-like
like-
pictures in the background.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, he put a password on it. Oh, you foiled me. I've been foiled. Well, let's look with the ink where the fingerprints go on the keyboard, because you can usually tell what the
That's
password
right. We can hack
is.
this.
Just always figure it out. We'll hack this thing.
What
I
are you,
like it.
What are you, Mission Impossible over there? I can tell. With
The only thing I don't like is the button on the bottom, because it's so easy to hit.
All
that.
the
But-
Kindles have that though, right?
Yeah. Well, they should have little
Plus
slide.
the headphone jacks on the bottom too, right?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't like that either. It should be up here.
Then it goes straight to you.
You
rather
like
than having
that?
to loop
Goes
it
straight
around
to
the
you.
device.
That's a good point. Yeah. 'cause it
Jeff
doesn't go
Bezos
over the
is going to send a
screen.
team to your house tonight to
Yeah,
take
seriously.
you
I'm a-
down.
I'm a
I
fire-
said I like the last.
I'm a
feature.
Fire fan.
The headphone jack is amazing.
That's all right. You can have it back, Brian. But anyway, I'm learning. Thanks to Kara Swisher from All Things D. We are so glad to have you. Mike Elgan. I don't want to say of Google Plus, but that's kind of where you live.
Of the Plus.
He lives on the Plus, Elgan.com. That just takes you to his Google Plus page. So there you go. Also, Rafe Needleman from CNET. And the podcast you do is called
Reporters Roundtable,
I don't
Friday,
remember
10
that.
a.m.
It's
Pacific,
this show with smart people.
and only
basically.
one of them, so I can focus.
Oh, it's just you and another guy.
One or two others, yeah.
How can you call it a round? It should more like a.
The table is in fact round.
It's a two-top.
Yeah.
Two-top.
Yeah,
It's two-top.
Yeah, and the service sucks, but yeah.
Kevin Rose. I did not say Rafe Noodleman. It's Rafe Needleman.
It's not that difficult.
Of the Needleman.
And Kevin Rose of Milk and Oink. And I want to talk a little bit about Oink and how it's doing and what it is. And,
Cool.
And is this the begin? I mean, this is the beginning of more from Milk, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mobile, all mobile though.
Oink, ba, nay, all of them.
You could do the whole farm.
He's got it. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. There's another company stole your Oink, by the way, already. Yeah, you didn't see that? Oh, I got to show you. Well, I'll show you later.
Right.
I don't want to depress you.
That's all good.
But it's exactly the same thing. It even looks the same. And it's featured on the Apple. You didn't see this yet.
It's the biggest iPhone I've ever seen.
And, you know why? Because it's got a giant battery on it, because it's got no battery life.
6x7.
No, that's not it. That's a camera thing. That's, let's see. Tiny review. Look.
Yeah, I saw tiny.
Look at this. Doesn't that look a little bit like Oink?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
There's a
You
billion
bastards.
You
rules.
can't really. You can't really.
None of
rate
them,
this
but
stuff,
none of
though.
them have Kevin.
Now you have to hire a lawyer.
That's a complete ripoff.
That's all good.
See,
There's-
he's a
there's a
nice
lot-
guy. I would be livid.
Nice guy. You just totally
I'd be
strafed
turning
the
red right
Kindle
now.
file.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Does that mean you're not
Right.
making a Kindle version of your app?
I guess not.
No, we don't
Are you
wanna
going to do Android?
Yeah, eventually.
I mean, there's a lot of people have
There's
Android.
a ton of people.
I'm going back. You know, I have this iPhone 4S. I love the camera. I like Siri. Not love, but I like Siri. But I miss Android.
There's one problem for developing with Android. I'll probably get some haters for this, but you've got two ends of the spectrum on Android. You've got the really hardcore geeks
Right.
that love
Like
to
me.
tweak every little setting,
Right.
that love Android, and
Right.
I want to develop for those people. They get
Sure.
it. They understand technology, right?
Sure.
Then you have just a bunch of the masses that have just got that's a free phone. It looks like a smartphone. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get that. They'll never download an application.
Right.
They have all this huge install base, and that's great. But these aren't really the people that are going to be using my app. So I want to develop for the geeks and the people that would, install it and actually get some use out of it. But at the same time, I don't know that the market is as big as they claim it is, as far as actual downloads.
Right.
In fact, recent surveys I've seen said developers really don't want to do so much Android stuff. They kind of have to, maybe, but they really like develop. The iPhone, people buy stuff on the iPhone, and that's the key. So here's David Prager's. I got to turn the sound on. Here's David Prager's imitation of it. Oh no,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
that's David Prager.
Yeah, he'll do it for you too. Next time you have him on the show, he'll just do it straight up. He does it on command, which is awesome.
It's like Deliverance.
Originally, I had sounds on for every event.
Yeah, you got to turn that off.
Yeah.
I'm going to check them all, just so we'll know. OINK, it's on the App Store now. It's free.
It's free.
And it's really, it's quite beautiful. Daniel Burka must have done this. Yeah,
he did.
he's such a good designer.
He's a great designer.
Such a good designer. Just love it. Really, really pretty. And lots of TWiT stuff. Look at it. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to make it so that users could go. I mean, there's so many apps out there that are about, you know, there's been Yelp, there's been Google Places, there's been a bunch of apps out there to say that a place is awesome, but it doesn't tell you what's inside that place is excellent.
As I understand it, there doesn't have to be a place.
It doesn't.
It can be just a thing.
A favorite movie that you enjoy. It can be whatever you want.
Could be tree-torn rubber boots.
Somebody was talking about Legos.
Yeah.
Lego sets.
Cycling shirts.
Was that you?
That was one of my first oinks.
Daniel loves eggs, Brussels sprouts, and roasted duck for breakfast.
Fantastic.
He's a little effete, but that's okay. Dave loves
I
pumpkin
put on
pie.
Who doesn't love pumpkin pie?
Who doesn't love milk punch? And then people comment
Those are all
on
at different places. So if you look at the underneath that one there, it says
Foreign
that's
Cinema
a
for
Foreign
Bloody
Cinema.
Mary, Bar Agricole. How do you pronounce that? Agricole?
Agricole.
Yeah. See, when I studied Latin, it was agricole. Agricole. It's farm. Agricola, agricolae, agricoli. Scones? Who doesn't love scones? Although in Sconeland, they call them scones.
Scones.
Yeah. Anyway, oink.
I'm going to go to Sconeland.
Are you going to go to Sconeland?
I didn't even know what that
where all
is.
the scones come
Is that a
from.
country or a theme park?
Let's talk about Audible.com, and we'll get. See, I have the best panel here. I would just could sit here drinking wine. Thank you for the wine, by the way.
You're welcome.
You're all getting drunk, and I'm
this
not, so now I'm going to start asking questions.
This is a natural wine called Donkey and Goat. I'm a small investor, full disclosure.
Wait a minute. It's a natural wine called Donkey and Goat?
That's correct.
Does it come from donkeys and
There's
goats?
little bits of donkey in it.
There are actually donkeys and goats.
Wait a
if you
minute.
want
Let me
to
oink
put this
it.
on the big
Let
camera.
me oink it.
This is actually quite
There are
good.
actually donkeys and goats in the history of this winery where they sometimes use vineyards that are not tended, irrigated, no pesticides, nothing.
Yeah.
And the weeding was done by a donkey.
Uh-huh.
And donkeys get lonely because they're very social creatures like us. And so they had a goat to keep the donkey company. And that's where the origin of the name, as I understand it. But anyway, this is a fantastic wine that is...
joke.
Is he still talking? Because I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Are you oinking? Are you oinking?
How do
donkey
I
goat?
oink it? Now, wait a minute. I've lost track of my oinking capability. I press oink, right?
Press oink.
Press the pig snout.
Press the pig snout.
Where
select
am I?
TWiT.
TWiT Brick House. Now,
Scroll
how
down.
do I add
Do
it?
it. Do
New
it
item at
here.
the top
Do it
right.
here.
Top
Show it.
right, new.
There you
Show
go.
it.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to put the bottle over here. Okay. Now I say what it is.
Yeah, so just type in the name.
say
So
donkey
and goat.
And
See, now the moment has passed.
yeah, see, that's to me. It's like
Is this the Syrah we're drinking?
I want to go home now. Okay, goat.
That was, I
Okay,
believe-
And then
add a
tag
tag
it
for
wine.
wine.
Yes. So you can see how it
By the way,
compares to
and
all
what you
wines.
can do is you can become an expert on wine if you do enough wines. You raise your wine reputation. See, there's the wine tag. So I'll select that,
Okay, add in the upper
and maybe
right.
I should add Pinots because this is a Pinot, and I bet you there's a Pinot Noir tag.
No, I have to
Maybe
take a
not.
picture. I'm
No,
ahead
there
of you
is.
guys.
There definitely is. It's the autocomplete.
Oh, it put a dot there. Noir. Okay.
Click
And then I'm
add.
going to add that. Okay. Now I'm adding the tags. Now I have to take a picture, though.
Yeah, so once it adds the tags and adds the
Okay.
item, there you go. Now
There's a
just take
photo. What the hell? Who's that?
You got it flipped around to your face.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's a weird bug. I haven't seen that.
That's not a. It's something strange has happened. Something very odd has happened.
Wait, pull
Well,
back.
Pull back.
There you go. You were just in too close.
Oh, I was getting a reflection probably.
Right.
Okay. Donkey and goat Pinot.
This is like the Marx Brothers of
And then you could do a filter on it, so they got like kind of. I like the light and dark.
Oh,
And
you do the Instagram thing.
boost.
No, we didn't. So that's the big news.
Alright,
We didn't
okay.
want to do like vintage filters. We just want to make
No.
like food and
So
things
you can
look
see
good.
it better,
Yeah.
basically. So
Yeah.
that's all it is. So
Black and white
good.
looks
You
good.
could
I'm gonna
drink the
black and
entire
white, you
bottle
can
of
read
wine
it.
in the time
Yeah.
you're posting on
I'll
it.
save that.
All right.
There you go. Now, how do you
No,
rate
but
it?
that's the same thing with all of these. Is it
Yeah.
takes
Yeah,
you?
that
You
one's
spend the
not
first 5 minutes when you
Right.
enter a
Initially.
place doing stuff.
Yeah.
Now what? I say I love this wine because
There you
actually
go.
I do.
Now, went out to all your followers.
And then now it says Leo loves this lovely Pinot. Now you're going to have that because you follow me. You're going to have that on yours, and you can add a little donkey
Right, so
and
now
goat
I see
plus.
that here's a donkey and goat. I
Right.
saw that you liked it. I go in here and I just say
You
like,
could
I
thumbs
also
up it,
love
thumbs
that.
down, and if you hated it, that kind of thing.
Bam.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Riveting. I like goats, though.
I like donkeys.
I was thinking
So the donkeys get lonely and they have a goat pal?
Exactly.
They do that with horses,
are goats
too.
very friendly?
Yeah,
Exactly,
horses like
yeah.
goats.
Interesting. We're doing our 10th D this year of all, if you can believe it.
Really?
It's the 10th, yeah,
Congratulations.
exactly. And I was with someone who thinks we should do pranks throughout the whole
No,
time.
no.
I know that.
That person is wrong.
One of the things was to put a goat on the edge of the stage and just not reference it in any way. Just have it sit there the whole time.
And wait till
What's
it just
wrong with
falls
that's
over
a
dead in the
winning
middle of the
concept.
Just
dancing
have it
cart.
sit
Yeah.
there. Just stand
That's
there.
strange.
Another person wanted us to put clowns in everyone's closets and they jump out.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's awesome.
You'll
Yes, the
certainly
first
get press.
heart
You'll
attack.
have quite a few ischemic attacks if
Yes,
you do
we
that.
will, indeed, including myself. I don't like clowns myself.
No one likes clowns, but I saw some good clowns at Cirque du Soleil because they were
You would not like a
real
clown
clowns.
jumping out of your closet
No,
at the
it's
Terranea Resort
terrifying.
in Palos Verdes. I think.
terrifying. Hey, did you see Twilight? Breaking
Yes.
Breaking Dawn?
Yes, I did, of course, last night.
So you know that you probably have read all the Stephanie Meyer books by now.
No, I did not read them. She's appalling writer.
She's a terrible, you probably could listen to them
You could
on
hardly,
audible.com.
Well, I suppose. No,
Look at here it is,
no.
Breaking
This is a
Wind, the
segue.
Twilight Saga Book 4, and it's on audible.com, and I could get you that book for free.
No,
Plus,
thank you.
book 5 and 1 and 3.
And
No?
again. I just endured the movie, which I adored.
It would spoil it for you.
No.
Let's listen
You
to
like
a
the
little
movie?
No, it's awful.
of the Twilight Saga,
It's fantastic.
narrated by Ilya Kadushin.
They couldn't get Shatner.
And then he kissed me. So there's a wedding in this one,
She
right?
doesn't kiss him until like book 15. or
Right,
whatever.
because
Oh,
they're-
remember, I'm having audio
You
issues.
can't hear it,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
believe me, you don't want to. So Audible has everything, but your teenagers
Hunger Games
are going to
is big.
love this, and it's going to get them into reading because they listen to these Audible books. In fact, they've done studies that kids who listen to audiobooks read more because they get excited about books, and it's a great way to get somebody into books.
The Harry Potter book, the guy who reads them, Jim
Jim
Dale,
Dale,
is fantastic.
amazing. Henry, everything's though
Harry,
very,
Hermione.
very amped up emotionally. Harry Potter took his wand and couldn't believe it. It was made of wood, and it's like everything is like very exciting. But it's good. The new Stephen King novel.
Nope, that's not a real quote from the book.
It's, his wand was suddenly hard.
Dear. It's a children's book. Let's not
It's
go
a
there.
children's
Okay,
book.
okay.
Not anymore.
But have you read the sexy Harry Potter?
Yeah.
No.
J.K. Rowling's
there's
fan fiction.
actually fan fiction that it
I'm
is.
sure there's lots of fan fiction. People, Hagrid.
Hagrid. Oh
Hagrid.
no. Let's.
New
you're
Stephen
going
King.
places I don't want to
New
go.
Stephen
Let's go back
King
to
novel.
Breaking Dawn, where they're not having any
Stephen
sex
King
whatsoever.
novel. Anyway, the point is that audiobooks really are. Thank you, Don. It's good to see you. Audiobooks are really fantastic way to read because nobody has time anymore.
They have the Steve Jobs book out now too.
I listened to. That's how I listened to it.
Who read that?
I can't remember his name, but it was very, very well written. And it's about 30 hours. It's a long book. And, of course, I would never have gotten 25 hours and 10 minutes. Dylan Baker reads it. I would not have gotten through it had I not had the audio version. But I listened in the car, I listened at the gym, I listened at night, I listened while I'm washing the dishes. And, it took me less than a week to read what is normally a very, long read because of that. So really, that's the idea is you get more reading done. They've got 100,000 titles. And if you go to audible.com/twit2, you can pick 2 of them. You'll be signing up for the Platinum account. That's a 2-book-a-month subscription. And the first month's free. The first 2 books are free. You cancel at any time, and they're yours to keep forever. As you can see, current events, classic science fiction. Childhood's End is such a wonderful book. I won't tell you that there's got a kind of a little bit of a twist at the end there. Won't tell you about that. But in fact, all the Arthur C. Clarke stuff is now on here because Audible has a program to record. They call it Audible Frontiers, classic science fiction that's never been available in audio. And it's a great way if you're catching up or your kid is catching up. The Solaris that they did, they actually commissioned a better translation because Lem always thought that the translation of Solaris was a botch. And so he supervised a new translation, and this is fantastic. If you haven't read, maybe you saw the movie, there was a terrible movie that was very dull, but this is a great book. Solaris, the definitive edition. It's a brand new translation. Anyway, audible.com/twit2. I hope I've shown you some great things. I just read The Wind-Up Girl. That's a really interesting. It's really good. Paolo Bacigalupi. Very interesting book. My next book is 1Q84, which is about 500 hours. But that's the thing is you can get aggressive about your reading and you get much more time to read. Or Breaking Dawn, the Twilight Saga, Book 4.
Yeah, no.
No? Come on, how could you like the movie and not want to read the
Because
book?
it's so bad, it's good.
Is it like badly written?
Bad acting, bad everything. It's
Oh, I
fantastic.
get it. It's
yeah.
one of those.
And then you have the screaming teenage girls in the back. The whole thing is fantastic.
No, okay, now this is good because there's a nuance that was missing from the social media aspect.
Right.
You shared it. Where else would I want to be on a Saturday night? But I didn't get that you were doing it in ironic. It was
I
ironic.
wasn't ironic. I completely enjoyed it. I can't deny I enjoyed it completely.
So it's a guilty pleasure, or
Taylor Lautner is such a bad actor. It's enjoyable. He's like, he literally is the worst actor, but then he pulls off his shirt anytime something goes wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's fine.
That's what I do.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very nice. He's a very handsome man. But anyway, it's interesting. But what was interesting is a lot of the tech in the movie was
There's
funny.
tech in
yes,
Twilight?
Well, at one point they pull up a lot of Apple computers, which I doubt Apple paid for anything because they never pay for placement.
They don't do placement?
But then he's going to look up like the whole baby thing, like what the hell's going on with Bella? She's dying, and he pulls up. He goes to search, and it's Yahoo search, and you're like, what? And the whole audience goes, what?
The most unbelievable moment.
I
it's a
know.
little jarring, isn't
Then
it?
they have all have Android phones. They all have Samsung, some sort. I think they had
That's a
Galaxies.
placement.
and
That's interesting.
But that was a placement, and you're like, wait, none of this works together. And then of course I was with a bunch. I took some people from All Things D, and they were all like, all those don't work together. They don't work together. Like it was like, why would you use an Apple and have an Android phone? And like, so then there was a long debate, but it was interesting to watch their tech.
So they're telling me that 1Q84, you should say 1984. It's like Charday. It's spelled 1Q84, but it's pronounced Charday. I don't get that. Because Q is 9 in Japan, in Japanese. So you pronounce it 1984, but it's 1Q84.
The vampires and werewolves are more believable than Yahoo search.
Maybe vampires use Yahoo search.
Except then the werewolves talked in really bad CGI, so it was like one of those Taiwanese news commercials then.
Oh, no.
The whole thing was just
Oh,
fantastic.
man. That sounds like now I want to see
And
it.
then they broke the bed, which is even better. Like
They
literally.
broke the bed?
Like into splinters.
They didn't kiss for 3 books and then they break the bed? Well, I guess there's a lot of
That's right.
pent-up demand, so to
Apparently.
speak. Google traffic, Google Plus traffic. I don't even want to talk about Google Plus. I'm
Let's
bored.
not.
Netflix. Oh, this is a good story, given your interest in media. They're going to bring Arrested Development back.
Great. Now I cannot watch it again.
I think, they also made a deal for House of Cards, which is a very
Yes,
good British
that is
show
good.
that Kevin Spacey will be starring in. Netflix
It was
is...
a movie. That was a movie.
It was a
House of Cards.
miniseries, House of
miniseries.
Cards. You're thinking of the David
movie.
Mamet movie,
Yes.
House of Cards. This is not that.
Fantastic movie.
This is a wonderful movie, not the one that
Not what we're
Netflix
talking
bought.
about.
They
Got
bought
it.
a British miniseries called House of Cards about the whip. There are whips in it, but it was the whip of the House in Parliament.
all over it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is what's making me mad. I was thinking of doing a column this. I have all these different things, and I have to go to each of them to get all my media. Like, I have to get pieces of things. It drives me crazy.
It's like changing channels on
Just
television.
I ended up
No, it's
buying-
worse.
No, but it's
'Cause each has its own
I have to,
HDMI port.
Why should I have to use all these different? Why can't I don't know why Apple can't have Amazon on it, so I can buy my Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime, so I use a lot of their videos. We watch old Star Treks and old Twilight Zones because they're free, and we like. To watch them.
I read all my Kindle books on my iPad because there's
Well,
a
that
Kindle
works.
app.
That's what I
But they
mean.
can't. But Apple won't let them make
Right.
an Amazon video app, which
Exactly,
is really,
which is
that's
what you want.
guys know
galling,
this
yeah.
is coming, right?
Google
Yes, of
TV.
course, yes.
Google TV, they're updating to 3.1. They're going to add the Android market. That may be the...
Google TV.
When
Oh,
Apple has
please.
their TV.
Right, they
So-
will add it, but I'm just saying it's just
Veronica
interesting.
Belmont,
right
who
now.
I'm pleased to say is one of our newest hosts. She's going to host a gaming show on the channel next month called Game On. Actually, it'll be in January. Crowdsourced a spreadsheet. If you go to bit.ly/settop, in which they have all the set-top boxes and which
What's on it?
stuff they support, and you'll note there's nothing.
It's in Christmas colors.
Yeah, that supports, well, it's just for Christmas. There's nothing that supports everything except a computer. If you have a Mac Mini and you put a home theater PC on it, it's a lot of work if you're a really crazy geek, but you can get everything on that.
But it's not like changing the channels because all the channels are on the TV.
No, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating because
Yeah.
they're all on different HDMI ports.
All
You-
the
you've seen the
channels are
flaw
on.
I
my
have
argument.
7 HDMI ports. I have a Roku, a Google Plus, an Apple TV. I've filled up all the 7 HDMI ports because you need each of the set-top boxes to get all of these things.
It's annoying.
It is annoying, but whose fault is that?
It's the fault that they don't care about consumers. It's great that you can get all these things, and I know it's going to be eventually fixed, but the way they go about it is so anti.
Well, who's going to fix it, Kevin? You said it'll be fixed.
Apple will.
Apple.
Yeah.
They'll have an app store for the TV, and you'll be all good.
Yeah.
Download the Hulu app, download
The Amazon app,
whatever.
It'll
it
be
is.
like the same thing. For
So
the thing.
now,
when
when
you
that's what
get-
Steve was talking about in the book when he says, I've licked it.
Well, it'll probably be powered by Siri, so you'll be able
Right.
to say like.
So it's voice control.
Hulu.
It needs to be because then it's easy to use, right?
He was
Because-
obsessed with it
Yeah.
even the last weeks of his life. He
Really?
was talking to people about it. Yeah.
Walt wrote, by the way, a great column about that 3-hour walk.
Yeah,
It was just fascinating.
He left out a lot of stuff too, which
Did
was
he?
interesting. Yeah.
Well, what? Like what?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, come on.
No, they had a very interesting professional friendship. I think it was really interesting. But I thought he put a lot of it. I just think Steve Jobs was still excited about the things he was doing right to the very end, because they were talking about plans, things he was working on.
And the TV was one of them.
Yeah, I think it was he talked to a lot of people about it, even in the last weeks. I just think he really didn't, first of all, was still excited about different things he was going to tackle, and I think that was the one he was really focused on, because he was kind of an obsessive focuser.
Do you think he watched TV? I mean, maybe that's one of the issues.
He was a music guy.
He was a music guy, and I wonder if one of the issues is that none of the geeks who are designing these things are actually the people who watch TV.
Well, I mean, in terms of Steve Jobs, his obsession since the late 90s had been finding lousy content experiences and fixing them.
Right.
Did it with the iPod, then the iPhone, then the...
That's a key transition. It's not computing, it's content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's no question that TV is part of that, because it's a horrible experience
content.
for everyone. We just were talking about how horrible it is.
Right.
I mean, the cable companies, everything about cable companies is awful, especially the interfaces, especially the
It's
remote
funny
control
because
numbers.
the previous thing was cell phone companies, which
Exactly.
also awful.
Well,
Exactly.
we got the Apple TV, and I had the Comcast. The Roku controller is very simple, but I literally, I was trying to explain Apple
Compare
TV
the
to
two.
her, and I
Yeah.
go, look at the Apple
Right.
thing, look at the Comcast thing,
Right.
and she's like, gosh, those are different. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She had the Apple one in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
She was able to use the Roku one, but it was still confusing to her. But it was interesting.
Yeah, well, they're software guys. They know how to put on the screen what apparently Comcast puts on in the remote control.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting though that Netflix is on the that's the delivery side, but on the content side, Netflix is essentially trying to create an $8 a month HBO.
See, but I love this concept that the internet is a farm program for a TV series, and it's like if it...
Well, this is the opposite. This is a canceled TV series
but
that still has an audience.
But in both directions. One in development becomes really popular online, then it goes to the prime time.
Right.
And then when it fades and it still has some hardcore fans, it goes back to the internet.
I think that's an interim thing. I think, in fact, we had Dana Brunetti on, who's the guy who sold House of Cards to Netflix. His company, Trigger Street, is Kevin Spacey's production company. And Dana said, look, this is the future. This is the way it's going to be. There's a temporary period where you have these players, but ultimately content creators are going to sell it as close to direct to the customer as possible. I think an app is the best way to go, right? Instead of an Arrested Development on Netflix, an Arrested Development app.
That'll make sense.
Right? You pay a couple of bucks, now that's my app. And think of all the additional features you can build into, let's say, a Glee app. Well, the Glee has a great app, actually, a karaoke app.
Yeah, but it'll probably be subscription based, right? You'll go and you get ABC, and you'll pay like the $5 a month or whatever. It's a la carte.
Forget
service
ABC.
versus-
That's the point. Forget ABC.
You just say they'll just be able to create their own.
Yeah.
But then you have the same problem that you have with the music industry and with publishing, which is that the word has to get out. Now, social media can do so much. The challenge with television is that it's expensive to produce. It's not one guy in a garage for 3 years writing a book, which then hopefully he can sell either by himself or with an agent. TV requires a whole different infrastructure to make the advertising model work because it's expensive.
That's the difference between apps that are self-funded versus like right now, like what was Lost, $1 million an episode or something like that to produce. Like who's going to put the money up front for that?
So you still need these big production companies.
Well, the thing with apps is like, I mean, Angry Birds was probably created for $50K or whatever.
And it was like their 60th app, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are TV shows that can be done as cheaply as Angry Birds.
Yeah,
I mean,
a good
if you,
TV show costs money. They just do.
I mean, if you think of something like Beavis and Butthead or like an animated series or a reality show,
Modern Family, which people love. You need serious professionals who write these things.
But that's one
not
type of TV that
inexpensive.
is inherently expensive. But things like reality TV, like you could do a reality show for $1,000.
Oh, please don't.
Please don't.
I mean,
I think we call it TWiT, actually.
or Jersey Shore or something like that. But
that costs a lot of money.
If everybody would please talk like this, I'd be much happier.
there's money in it.
There's money in it. Well, the thing is, once you see that there's money in creating these apps, you take the successful app and then you reinvest them. I mean, it's just building a new business. It's not that you don't have to go back to ABC to make $100 million show. You just have to make $100 million, then you can make the $100 million.
Presumably,
show.
I mean, it's
bootstraps up.
or you look at something like Annoying Orange. This week finally got the Cartoon Network deal, but it got really popular online, and it's really funny.
They must make millions of dollars on it.
I don't believe they do. I don't.
Well, that's Google's fault then for
Well,
not
I don't think they
monetizing
make maybe millions of dollars, but they're going everything. Like, do they just move from thing to thing that makes sense to them? So that's really, to me, that's what's going to happen.
You must know a little bit about this, Kevin, because Revision 3 has become an aggregator of YouTube's successes.
Epic Mealtime.
Epic Mealtime, an amazing show.
Yeah, they make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money.
Yeah,
for sure.
from YouTube.
From Revision 3 selling the sponsorships for them.
Do they make more money now than they were making as a YouTube hit?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so maybe that is the case, that you have to migrate then from YouTube.
Where it makes sense.
They can sell your ads in their case because their content's free.
Google has
where it becomes sensible, you move to other things. Not
Google
always.
has put $100 million into all these channels. You know, Felicia Day and Shaquille O'Neal, and
we'll see.
We'll see. They're throwing stuff at the wall.
Why not?
They can afford it.
How does Funny or Die do? Does anybody know how their financials are? Really?
I think very well. Yeah.
We're making a Funny or Die for D10.
Are you?
Peter's dive with me in it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's awesome. No, I think Funny or Die does very well, as a matter of fact. I don't know the facts on it, but I remember hearing that. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any other big stories? Silver Lake Partners, Zynga.
They've got a lot going on this week, but
what's the? They got Van Natta got a job, right? What happened?
Yes. No, he left. We wrote that.
He's gone.
Yes, we wrote that story.
Is that a big deal?
No, I think he sort of replaced himself, and he's got a lot of money, and he wants to go do other things.
Yeah.
So they're going public, obviously, before the new year. I think before.
So wouldn't you want to wait till that happened?
No, because you have to tell them because he had a big title. I think you had to before they go on the road show.
So he was planning to leave. You can't go on a road show and say, "Well, by the way, our chief business officer is going to quit."
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I were him, I'd keep it quiet till after the IPO.
Yeah, but then you're tricking investors a little bit. I think even though they've hired.
It's interesting. If I thought in my head I was going to leave, but I just didn't tell anybody, that's bad.
Oh, they were discussing it for a long time.
So they had a conversation.
Yeah.
He blabbed. He had to go.
He blabbed to me.
Well,
yeah.
No, that he was thinking of, if, like you said, if he was just thinking to it,
wasn't he the guy responsible or involved in the taking back options from
clawbacks?
The clawbacks?
That's no. That was yes and no, I suppose. Yes and no. But he gave up a lot.
That was a lovely maneuver.
So early employees who had options.
Really? It happens in a lot of
companies take back the options.
They do, but it's done in a different. Mark just made a list. I think that was different.
What do they do? They come to your office and say, yeah, those options that we gave.
What's happening?
Yeah, we'd like those back now.
Well, there is a counter argument. If someone is not contributing and they're sitting there vesting in peace, it's kind of a problem for a startup.
Well, that's why they get options in the first place.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's because people don't do that. I mean, you're around.
I think that's what G4 did to us.
You fire people just out. You're out. You're out.
If you're out of here.
It's better for the person.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of companies do that.
All right. I've had enough of this.
Okay.
I'm depressed. The whole world's going to hell. But thank God there's Twilight.
That's because you've been drinking.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm one of them sad.
Or not drinking enough.
Or not enough. One or the other. I haven't finished this glass. I'm still
and there's Twilight. Please rush out.
Kara Swisher has to go get her now penguin-loving children.
Exactly. My mom.
They're gonna want penguins now.
Oh, they've got a lot of things.
They're so cute.
They are cute.
They're so cute.
They are cute.
allthingsd.com, and the 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary, and it's the 20th anniversary of Walt's column, if you can believe it.
Wow.
It's the 5th anniversary of our site and the 10th anniversary of the conference. So
is TechCrunch dead now?
Oh, I'm not going to comment on that.
I'm just throwing that out there.
You're just baiting her. Come on, Kara, come on.
Do you know what? They're having some issues.
I mean, Sarah left.
Sarah left.
Sarah left?
Yes.
Yeah.
Heather might be leaving.
But Sarah hadn't been around for ages because she had a baby.
But
so
still, I mean, that's a...
No, she was coming back January 1st.
So she decided not to come back.
Indeed.
Who else is leaving? Is there a hemorrhaging of talent?
You know,
MG's barely writing for them anymore. He's a columnist
now. I thought
MG
was awesome.
I love MG. MG's a superstar. But all he's writing now is an Apple column because he's a VC. Interesting. So AOL killed it, huh?
You know, these media properties have lives. It's just faster on the internet. I think it was a lot built around Michael Arrington.
It was Mike. You know what? Mike leaves, you don't have anything.
It's tough. It's tough when you build those kind of things. If you're not building a larger.
What's Giga without Malik? What's TechCrunch without?
You know, hang on. These sites have good writers. I mean,
they have great writers. It's not to diminish.
Yes, they do.
them.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think you can do it beyond that. I mean, look, I had a stroke and they did IGD just fine. I mean, it's just like you can build these things. It just is. I mean, Kevin's running.
As your mother
property.
says, the graveyard's filled with indispensable people.
But I'm saying you can build it depending on how you build a media property. It can go on without you or not.
I'm trying. Hey, you know who my successor is going to be? This cat, Tom Merritt. Tom, what's coming up this week?
Hey, thanks, Leo. Here's a look at what's coming up in the week ahead. We'll be covering some of this stuff on Tech News today. A lot of stuff going on today. The AT&T Curve 9360 comes out. AT&T's launching the HTC Titan. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword comes to the U.S. and Canada. Also, U.S. net neutrality rules are in effect as of today. And happy 26th birthday to Windows. Coming up on Wednesday, November 23rd, the Gmail app for BlackBerry reaches the end of life. And then that's it. Thursday, November 24th, it's Thanksgiving in the U.S., so we will not respond to any of your emails or phone calls. And then Friday, November 25th, Black Friday. That's when everybody in the U.S. goes out shopping. It's also when the 25th anniversary Zelda edition of Nintendo 3DS comes to European shops, and the iPhone 4S will hit India. Let's look at the week ahead.
Let's talk about that.
Back to you, Leo.
Thank you, Tom Merritt. Tom Merritt is, of course, the host of... You're welcome.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Tom Merritt. He loops, by the way. He's the host of TNT. Does that every Monday through Friday, 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern on TWiT.tv. If you're outside of the U.S., 2:30 Pacific would be, I'm going to do some math now, 22:30 UTC. Black Friday is not the biggest shopping day of the year?
No, I covered retail for 7 years. It's actually the Saturday before Christmas.
Makes much more sense. I never understood who wants to go out.
It's a myth. It's one of those mythologies.
And Cyber Monday is even a bigger myth.
It's
like the people that don't shop because they're going to have faster internet at work.
They're waiting for the very last sales before Christmas.
Of course.
Saturday before Christmas.
Christmas Eve, that's when
Although now it's going to be Christmas Eve, actually, because it's Christmas on a Sunday.
Cyber Monday?
Ooh, it's a double.
I would think Friday and Monday. Friday and Saturday before Christmas.
It sounds very like late 90s.
The information superhighway someday will come to every home in the United States, and then you'll all be driving on the information.
I remember doing something, there was like a, are you in the driveway on the information superhighway? Or I don't know.
Taking the off-ramp.
The off-ramp. Yeah. Christmas Eve is when I shop. I like to. I do. I like to be there with all the other husbands.
What do you get me? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you have that electric power swizzle stick yet? Because that is an awesome holiday gift this year. And
I don't want a Kindle Fire.
You're going to get a Kindle Fire, is what you're going to get.
The Up.
You could have my Fire.
Awesome.
Up.
Yeah. I am getting the Up. I'm getting the Up.
You know, apparently there's a big failure rate on these things. You know why? Because people shower with them. They say they're waterproof. They're not.
You lost your dongle?
Yeah, I lost my dongle.
Oh dear.
I ordered. You can get three for $10.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
You lost your dongle. Back to Twilight again. He lost his dongle on this particular episode of Twilight.
I always lose my dongle. No, I think these are pretty cool.
I want wireless sync though. That's the only.
Yeah, that's what the Fitbit had.
You know,
Did
a
you
lot
give
of
up
people.
the Fitbit for the?
A lot of people complained about that, saying this was a company famous for wireless, and they didn't have a wireless.
This is a company famous for headsets.
I know, but they're wireless.
Jawbone.
headsets.
We're talking about the Jawbone.
Everybody. Never mind.
You know what's interesting? Philippe Kahn. That's what's interesting.
He's involved. He actually demoed that at D for a couple of years ago. He had someone running around the audience, like a runner.
Philippe Kahn created Turbo Pascal.
Right, and then
at Borland many moons ago. Then he was his wife was giving birth, and he had a camera phone, very early feature phone with a camera. And he said, "Why can't I share this with other people?" He came up with the basic technology that is in every freaking camera phone made today, licensed to Philippe. And now this.
He's a character.
He's great. Plays the sax, too.
He does.
We should get Philippe. Can we get Philippe on this show?
He lives in Hawaii, doesn't he?
No. He sails right here. 24-footer.
He is.
People hate him because he's putting millions of dollars into 24-foot sailboats.
I hate him.
And beating him. Because, of course, you could win if you put money into those things. I was sailing on the bay last year, and Philippe's team went by.
Wow.
Yeah. They all have matching slickers.
You need matching slickers.
We should all have blazers.
Yeah.
We could all wear TWiT blazers during this show. That'd
Uniforms.
Be great. Uniforms would be great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We do this show 3 p.m. Pacific on Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 300 UTC, so you can watch it late at night. But, you know, you don't have to watch it live. It's fun to watch live when we watch the chat room. We actually have an interaction with them. We look at them. We see what they're saying. We go, and then we move on. And you could be part of that by coming in live. But if you don't worry. We record it, and you can get video and audio after the fact. It's all at twit.tv. Thanks to my producer, Eileen Rivera, who makes this show sing. She actually does everything. She books the guests.
Fantastic.
She puts together the stories.
And I also am going to remind you really quickly about twit.tv/best of.
Oh, yeah, we got to do our holiday specials. We're going to take the week after Christmas off, as always, and what we like to do those weeks is do a best of. We have a great TWiT holiday special on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. That's going to be John Hodgman, Jonathan Colton, Paul and Storm, and a lot of Jaeger. But then New Year's Day, we're going to have a best of Twit, and we'd like you to contribute a little bit by just saying what your favorite moments were from the years gone by. If you know what time and date, that's good, but you don't have to. Just go to twit.tv/best of, and Super Eileen will be collating, editing, and producing a fine best of.
I'm not going to edit, but I'll be looking at stuff.
People to do that. Eccentric millionaire John Hodgman's going to be fun. He is a strange kid. Talk about Funny or Die. Look at that video.
He's fantastic.
On Funny or Die. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you next week. Another Twit is in the can.
This is amazing.